Week 11, let's rock and roll. Before we get to tonight's matchup under the lights here at Acrisure Stadium, we're counting down to a pair of games at 3:30 on ESPN. Big one in Blacksburg between number 23 Clemson and Virginia Tech, both coming off a loss. Certainly not out of the CFP picture. And then the one right here on ACC Network between Duke and NC State. I don't have to tell you, they don't like each other. Remember what happened last year? Duke dominated the Wolfpack, but now they're going to Raleigh. So we'll see what happens. And there's a beautiful view of Pittsburgh and us. Look, it's a beautiful sunshiny day. Duke and NC State. Obviously, these two do not like each other within the triangle, about 20, 22 miles apart from each other. And we remember what happened last year. So we got to bring in Coley Harvey because he is sidelined for this one. They're in Raleigh, and we got to talk to him exactly. He got to talk to the coaches and players all day or all week. So they got to learn a little bit about what's been going on internally there in Durham and in Raleigh. So Coley, first and foremost, please be safe over there on the sideline, because during the commercial break, you see all these wide receivers catching passes behind you. Are you safe right now, first and foremost?
It looks like we are safe. They've moved down. The batons have stopped flipping the batons next to us, so I think we're good for right now, Taylor.
All right, if we're talking about being safe, CJ Bailey, the young quarterback for NC State, he has a tough test going up against this Duke defense. What have they said this week about that test for him?
Yeah, well, this Duke defense has been so good throughout the year, particularly at getting into the backfield. In fact, the Blue Devils come into this week ranked 15th nationally in sacks per game, and then in the last 3 weeks, the Duke's defense has had 12 takeaways in these last 3 games. So something that CJ Bailey and North Carolina State's offense is really going to have to keep an eye on. In fact, in talking with Duke defensive coordinator Jonathan Packey, it's clear that they really want to get after him. He said that we really want to force CJ Bailey to make big plays. We want the ball in his hands because he's just a freshman. We feel like we can put so much pressure on him that we can fluster him, that we can confuse him. So that's where some of the challenge is going to come in. It's going to be interesting to see just exactly how Duke is going to be able to do that. We'll keep an eye on the edges to see how well they're able to protect that pocket to get after him. In that sense, Duke really wants to keep him in the pocket to force him to make some of those plays and some of those throws. In terms of CJ, I did also speak with him this week, and he says, look, I've been feeling much better throughout the season. It feels like he's grown throughout the year, and a lot of that stems from the former NC State quarterback, Grayson McCall. He says that he's getting a lot of input from McCall since McCall has had to retire from football in the last couple of weeks, that McCall is constantly in his ear, and that's had a major impact on some of the success that we have seen CJ Bailey have of late.
That's a great note there. I know Grayson McCall wants to get into coaching now that his playing career is over, so getting an early start. All right, last year, the ACC huddle was there when these two teams played. NC State lost pretty big, 24-3 to Duke at Duke. What has Dave Dorn been talking about this week in terms of that game last year?
Yeah, Taylor. In fact, he has brought that up, as he said, quote unquote, some to his players. He hasn't harped on it too much, but he has brought it up some. Again, this is a new era in college football. We've seen the transfer portal come to the point where there are enough players on this NC State team who were not here last year, but there are certainly a good number who remember that. They remember the bad taste that they had in their mouths after that 24-3 loss to their rival Blue Devils. And because of that game, Doran said that he felt like it was a catalyst for the rest of the year. After that game, NC State went on to win 5 straight games to close out the regular season. They're looking to do a lot of the same this year. They're in the middle of a stretch right now that could allow them to close out the regular season with 5 wins. And of course, today they're going for a shot at bowl eligibility. So Doran is trying to channel that from last year's game into this one. Speaking of last year's game, it was in that one when running back Jordan Waters rushed for 123 yards and a touchdown, and he did that for Duke. He's playing for NC State, of course, today. And some of the people that I've talked to around NC State, they say that although this will be his final game at Carter Finley, and this is senior day here, he's not going to be taking part in those festivities because he did it at Duke last year. And he also doesn't want to distract from the rest of the game and the rest of the players who are being honored today.
All right, Coley, we appreciate all of those notes, and I know Jordan Waters is going to be playing his heart out today against Duke and for that NC State team. Have a good game.
You guys have a great day. Thank you.
All right, so we're counting down till kickoff there in Raleigh. There's Manny Diaz deep in thought. Look, I understand Duke, their last 2 games, they've come out on the losing end, but a close one in overtime to SMU. They took Miami deep into that game, had an 11-point lead in the 3rd quarter last week, and then the Canes eventually pulled away in the 4th quarter. So talking about Duke making the trip to Raleigh today, how do they bounce back from that? And what do you anticipate seeing from this Duke team that has played really good football under Diaz this season?
Yeah, I'd be careful pressuring CJ Bailey. One, because I feel like he's maturing and the game is starting to slow down for him a little bit more. And he's mobile. I mean, he doesn't take off and run a ton, but when he does, he's effective doing it. And so if NC State can protect him, I feel like he could hurt Duke potentially through the air. They got a ton of guys that can make plays. Justin Jolie quickly becoming one of my favorite players to watch with his ability to break tackle. So I understand he's a young quarterback, but after hearing them say that, I'm like, I don't know. Be careful with that as well.
I don't know if they have to pressure me because Duke can also change their fronts and make things look different for CJ Bailey too. I know when I was young as a freshman, if I was playing well and when I saw a different picture, it did slow me down a little bit because now I'm like, I'm not as sure if this is where I'm supposed to go with the football. But nonetheless, you're right. CJ's playing with a ton of confidence. And even some of those other players beside Casey Concepcion for NC State have really stepped up and played huge for him to make his job a little bit easier.
Are you able to be physical with those receivers, maybe throw off some timing, just make it look, as you said, different to him? How are you going to be able to do that, whether that's sending delayed blitzes, is it having coverage and having 8 like we were just talking about that we've seen here in Pittsburgh, the things they go against. But if they get their hands on the football, what is CJ Bailey going to do? If he's faced with adversity and a young guy that just maybe is seeing some stuff and doesn't get in a position that he wants, how is he going to respond? It'll be fascinating to see that.
I was looking at my notes, and he's been sacked 8 times the last 2 games. But he's thrown 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Right.
So he's been able to handle that. Yeah, he's been able to take the sacks and take the pressure and still play well as a young quarterback, which is very impressive.
Does NC State have a corner that can cover Jordan Moore?
Him and Aiden
That's
White.
the matchup.
Yeah,
that
Aiden
is.
White will be fun to see.
That's the matchup.
Yeah, it really is. But Eli Panko's been balling. Samir Hagans have been balling. Those guys have been making plays on the outside as well.
On that note, show us a little bit, because I know, like I said, 2 straight games that they've taken an L, but the offense has been playing a little bit better, and there's still room for them to grow Duke offensively, Eddie.
I love what they're doing. Offensive coordinator Jonathan Brewer has been putting together a great scheme. And like I said, the guys around Malik Murphy have been playing better, but I want us to focus on the ball placement right here. Malik Murphy delivering a dime right here on the fade ball. This was in overtime, putting it over top of the defender and his receiver Eli Panko going up to get it. And right here is about the scheme. We're going to take a look at the safety. You want to bring the safety's eyes in front of you with this crossing route so you can focus on this, so you can hit this receiver in the back of the end zone. You want to throw the ball low in the front of the end zone and high in the back of the end zone, and that's exactly what Malik Murphy does. Right, see there, the ball placement again. The game is really starting to slow down for him. Only a sophomore right here, right over top of the cornerback right here, the safety. We saw Joe Burrow make a throw like this on Thursday Night Football. And talk about ball placement again, man. This is a cover 2 hole shot. This is a tough throw to make. It's almost double coverage. Get it over top of the corner and away from the safety to protect your receiver in this situation. Great ball right here. And then the last thing is what you're going to love about, for me, the route running ability of Jordan Moore. We just talked about it right here. Corner plays it great. Elijah Huzzy plays it great, but you got to come back to the ball so that the quarterback can trust you. Aggressively attacking the ball, catches it with his hands, and then gets up the field for the yards after the catch.
Come on.
So I love what Duke is doing through the air, and they got a ton of playmakers. Samir Hagans had 100 yards last week, Eli Panko the week before, and we all know what Jordan Moore can do.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. I mean, when those guys are firing on all cylinders, and this is an NC State defense that isn't exactly what they've been historically, so how will they continue to grow? What we're seeing from this young quarterback, again, his first year starting, transferring in here at Duke, getting guys the ball, getting guys like Jordan Moore, who's probably getting more healthy, different opportunities like that. I still want to see a heavy dose of Star Johnson and other running backs in the backfield.
And even when Duke played Miami, those receivers were getting open, like you showed so well in that tape, and those against some other opponents. But Malik did miss a few layups where if you just give it to those guys. And the other tough part for Malik is that he has such a strong arm that Same with DJU. Same, again, myself. You have to tone it down sometimes and just throw a catchable ball and let those receivers go to work instead of just trying to fire everything in. But I love what Malik Murphy's been doing the past few weeks.
I'm with you, E, but I looked at it and I'm like, Dad, he's only a sophomore.
He's got super young.
He's 11 games. Yep. And what I did see, and it was the SMU game, he threw one, it was too hard. He threw it too low. And then they came back to the same play. He threw it early and he threw it with touch.
Yep.
So that shows me that there's room for growth there and that it is coming, and he's playing in a great scheme for him.
And Malik is one of those quarterbacks that we watch. We talk about Cam Ward and how even keel he always is. Malik Murphy is too. He doesn't get too high or low at all. He's very
He don't talk trash either.
No,
bro, wake up. You in there, bro?
He might.
Silent killer.
By the way, they're trying to beat North Carolina and NC State in the same season Duke is since 2013.
All right.
So Manny Diaz and company on a mission trying to snap that losing skid. We are counting down here on ACC Network, though, to a big game there in Raleigh between Duke and NC State. NC State is searching for some bowl eligibility, and that guy Jordan Waters used to wear the blue. Now he's in black and red. What will he do today? State went off for 281 rushing last week. Can they get an encore today? That is the question. We'll be back with more on the other side of the ACC.
Say it like you mean it.
Right. Go ahead to the whole verse.
Yeah, just the confidence. I mean, when you got your best players out there, your playmakers, it's huge for the confidence alone. And you see Jones, he looks like he's ready to go. So I'm excited to see it.
All right, and then here in Raleigh, it is senior day, so you see Dave Dorn there posing with all of his guys as they come out of the tunnel. So they'll play with a little bit more emotion today as they try to lock up bowl eligibility and then trying to continue through November, closing out this season strong. Duke, though, in the house. Duke is trying to beat Carolina and NC State in the same season for the first time since 2013. All right, we know C.J. Bailey, the young freshman QB for State. Big environment, big crowd, big day. EJ, how does he handle things against this Duke defense?
Yeah, well, see the front first and know your keys and just relax. I mean, it's senior day. Don't put pressure trying to get the ball to the seniors. Just see it, grip it, and rip it like he's been doing since he's became the starter, and just continue to grow in your confidence. Last week, he was extremely accurate. That's why his passing percentage was so high. But again, just take what the defense gives you. Let the game come to you.
And this is a big deal for NC State. I mean, it's to go to a bowl game. Right. You know, it's to get to postseason. So there's a lot of juice, man. See Grayson McCall there, how special that is, getting a big ovation, which I love. I love to see that.
And from CJ there, too.
And that's special. I mean, that's the last time he's ever going to, run on a field as a, student athlete. And it's unfortunate, but, he did a great job with the game. And he was at Coastal Carolina the other day, which was great. But excited to see this game. It's a big game. It's going to be fun.
Run the football. Don't put too much pressure on CJ. He did a heck of a job running the ball last week. Continue to do it, and then let CJ get into a rhythm.
Yeah, they ran for 281 last week against Stanford, but this Duke defense is a little bit different than the Cardinal. Davin Vann as well, running out as a senior.
Bloods in the bricks.
Trying to rile up the crowd. For EJ, EMAC, Eddie, I am Taylor. Thanks for joining us the last hour and a half. Chris Connor, Mark Herzlich, Coley Harvey have you covered for the first half and the rest of the way. We will see you at halftime. Enjoy the game in Raleigh.
Thank you, Taylor, and welcome to ACC Network Football, presented by Dr. Pepper. Two charter members of the ACC renew their rivalry for the 85th time inside Carter Finley Stadium. The Duke Blue Devils are in town to take on the NC State Wolfpack, one win away from becoming bowl eligible. Hi, everybody. Alongside Mark Herzlich, I'm Chris Cotter. This is a big game for both these teams for different reasons, isn't it?
Yeah, NC State really needs to get a win to become bowl eligible. That elusive 6th win. And the way Dave Doran talked to his team, he talked about like a turnaround. Last year, it was a game against Duke that NC State came off of where they played poorly. They won their last 5. They want to win the last 5 this year. They started with 2 wins against California teams. This one, they're hoping to get against someone much closer.
Well, the NC State Wolfpack have had their issues on the offensive side of the ball this year, but they exploded last week for 59 points against Stanford. Here's the trio that led the way.
Yeah, and C.J. Bailey at quarterback, he was accurate and he was efficient getting the ball to his wide receivers downfield. And then the run game got going. They were able to have a big run from Jordan Waters, 94 yards, and then it was Hollywood Smothers with the 100-yard day. They got their ground game going and protected their passer, and it was all credit to the big boys up front. Talking to Dave Doherty, he said this was the first time last week that he saw all 5 of his offensive linemen playing as one. And you see that with the most points ever in the AC game and 7 for 7 in the red zone. They're going to hope to do that same thing today against an aggressive Duke defense.
Coley Harvey is the 3rd member of our crew today. He's standing by on the field with more on this freshman quarterback for the Wolfpack.
Chris, confidence is what has C.J. Bailey and this Wolfpack offense playing some of their best football of late. The NC State freshman quarterback telling me, I run the offense way better now than when I first came in. He said that in the beginning of the year, he was going too fast, panicking in the pocket. He said that when it was in practices and games that he was throwing bullets to his receivers. Now, thanks to constant advice from former starter Grayson McCall, Bailey's gotten a lot more comfortable behind center. The touch on his passes, his patience in the pocket, and his trust in his teammates all have Bailey so much more comfortable than before.
Yeah, thank you, Coley. When you think about Duke, Mark, the Blue Devils are trying to end a modest 2-game skid. They've had their own issues offensively, but defensively under first-year defensive coordinator Jonathan Patke, they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they are. And Jonathan Patke is reunited with his mentor, Manny Diaz. This is their 9th year total together. And it's that same side type of Manny Diaz defense that we're used to seeing. They are aggressive. They are going to have their defensive linemen playing vertical. And you see what that's resulted. I mean, these are FBS ranks. Number 1 in fumbles recovered. Number 2 in turnovers created. TFLs, sacks. This is the type of defense that C.J. Bailey is going to have to deal with. He's going to get pressure from a lot of different places, and that's why NC State hopes to establish the run game early with their trio of running backs, Kendrick Raphael, Jordan Waters, and Hollywood Smothers.
There's a good look at Manny Diaz in his first year as the top man with the Duke Blue Devils. They started the year 5-0. But they've lost 3 out of 4, including 2 heartbreaking losses in their last 2 games. A game against SMU that they certainly felt they had a great shot at winning. That was an overtime loss. And then they led 28-17 against Miami last time out before the Hurricanes were able to have a big 4th quarter and get the win. NC State won the toss. They defer to the second half, and they bring out a real weapon in Colin Smith. Only 3 of his kicks have even been brought back this year, or returned, I should say. All the others, touchbacks through the back of the end zone. Then Smith sends this one to the front of the end zone. But Peyton Jones watches it go over his head. It'll be a touchback. For Duke, they'll send out one of the top transfer portal quarterbacks in the offseason, Malik Murphy.
Yeah, Malik Murphy is a true pocket passer. He's not going to pull the ball down and scramble with his legs very much, but he's accurate with his arm, and he has a big arm at that. He is distributing the ball to these wide receivers on the outside. Samir Hagans, Eli Pankle, Jordan Moore. All these guys have chosen their games, really, that have had big moments and big plays. He's looking to see who that guy is going to be to step up for him today.
He'll start the game with Star Thomas in the backfield. Now they send him in motion to the bottom of your screen. Murphy quickly gets it out to his receiver, Hagans. He's brought down after a short gain, just about 1 yard.
In this Duke offense, Jonathan Brewer as the offensive coordinator, it's really kind of a blend of different offensive types. Really a kind of Baylor choice type offense with wide splits where you get vertical pass game. You know, he studied under Gus Malzahn, so you're going to get that tempo offense, which you see here. But watch these wide receivers spread the field horizontally to try to create room for the run.
Murphy's going to keep it himself. That's a rarity. You don't see number 6 in white run the ball very often on a design run. And Devon Betty brings him down again after a short gain. He'll be 3rd down and almost 9 yards.
Tony Gibson, the defensive coordinator for NC State, he talked about kind of his strategy versus Malik Murphy. He said, look, on early downs, I'm going to bring pressure, right? But when it gets into obvious passing downs, we've seen Malik Murphy struggle on film versus zone coverage. So he said, I'm going to have times where I only rush 3, I drop 8, and make Malik Murphy beat us in these zone windows.
Wolfpack does just that. They bring 3, so Murph's going to have time, and he has a receiver, but Hagans is hit immediately. That was Aiden White's 3-year starter for NC State out of Asheville, North Carolina, and it brings up 4th down.
And because NC State did a great job on 1st and 2nd down, it goes to 3rd and long. 3rd and long, they dropped 9. They only had 2 guys rushing as Devin Van dropped off late in the middle. And NC State kept everything in front of them and tackled downhill. Good job. 3 and out on the first drive.
Cade Reynoldson will come in to punt for Duke. And Jalen Coit standing by to receive this one. It's a line drive kick and a good one. All the way inside the 10, still giving it, but Duke bounced, and it'll eventually be stopped dead right there at the 4-yard line. 63 yards and nothing on the return off the toe of Cade Reynoldson. Here's C.J. Bailey.
Yeah, C.J. Bailey, and talking to Robert and I and Dave Doran, his 2 coaches, they are infatuated with his ability to throw the ball downfield and the accuracy and timing with the throws. I mean, he's got wide receivers on the outside. We know Casey Concepcion, Dakari Collins has come on a transfer from Clemson a few years ago. Noah Rogers transferred in from Ohio State. But C.J. Bailey, the tall 6'6", 210-pound freshman, his arm strength is there, but his accuracy with the football is what's made him special for NC State this year.
The give to Hollywood Smothers. He's in all kinds of trouble, and he's smothered inside the 5 for a loss of 3. Aaron Hall and Chandler Rivers from his cornerback spot coming in to make the tackle for the loss.
Well, I was wondering how long it was going to take for you to say that he got smothered, and that was play number 1. But, you know, when you look at this defense for Duke, I mean, this is what they do. You know, they create penetration on the outside. Great job by Aaron Hall, big number 99. Just getting in that run window, and that's going to be an issue. These running backs for NC State are going to have to navigate through these horizontal running lanes when the defense gets in the backfield.
So now Bailey will take the snap from his own end zone. Looking to get out of his own end zone, and he won't. It's a safety for Duke. Wesley Williams and Aaron Hall once again. So this Blue Devil team that comes in leading the conference in TFLs gets 2 on the first 2 snaps from NC State, and they've taken the 2-0 lead.
I mean, how about that? This Duke Blue Devil defense, 2 TFLs to start this game, and it couldn't be any better for Duke, and it couldn't have started any worse for this NC State offense. Duke is going to get the ball back when we return.
Welcome back to ACC Network Football, presented by Dr. Pepper. 2 plays from scrimmage for NC State, 2 TFLs for this Duke defense, one of them being a safety. So the Blue Devils on the road have taken an early 2-0 lead in this game. Colin Smith will give it the boot here on the free kick. And Duke will look to get good field position for their second offensive possession after going 3 and out early. Hammered at the 25. Let's take another look at that safety, Mark. What do you make of it?
Well, it's a zone read play, and the blockers are going to come inside here where the read starts on the outside. When he drops, there's a new man to read, and C.J. Bailey just doesn't read him correctly. He comes up the field. He has eyes for the quarterback. C.J. Bailey needs to hand that ball off, especially when you're in your own end zone. I would think, Robert and I, anytime you're backed up like that, you want to have kind of fast hitting plays, whether they're deep shots downfield or direct runs. Kind of put Bailey in a little bit of a compromising position, but great play by Aaron Hall with 2 TFLs and a safety.
Thomas avoids the first tackler, can't avoid a slew of others in black jerseys, picks up a yard. Tavon Betty and Brandon Cisse making the tackle. NC State staff happy to have Cisse back. He was out a couple of weeks ago with a thumb injury. Came back last week, so getting close to 100%.
This formation right here with the tight end towards the running back. A lot of times you get your counter game.
Murphy to throw. Has time. That's a receiver. That's Pancall. Squeezes it and moves the sticks.
They're going to go fast. They get up to the line of scrimmage. They stay with this 11 personnel. They move the tight end around. Now he's in line. Thomas again. Nothing there. Cuts it back inside.
just gets back to the line of scrimmage. Raleigh Price, defensive end, on the tackle. And NC State talked a lot about how Duke wants to go quick and go tempo, and that's a big part of how they've prepared for this week.
Yeah, they have. And they have a pretty good understanding of what Duke wants to do. And really, Duke, it doesn't hide it. They're not going to show a lot of different formations, not a lot of different adjustments pre-snap. It's really their tempo that want to catch the defense off guard.
Murphy coming up to the line of scrimmage to change the play. NC State bringing some pressure, and they're going to drop Thomas. 1 yard loss. You had Kamal Bonner and Price again on that end. They'll bring up 3rd and long.
The last 3rd and long, we saw Tony Gibson decide to drop back, right? And kept all the balls in front of him, allowed a 2-man pass rush to take place. Good job tackling them short of the line to gain. Now this is 3rd and 2 sticks, right? Tony Gibson loves being aggressive. It'll be interesting to see if he kind of stays with his game plan and plays that zone, soft zone coverage, or if this tempts him too much to get after this quarterback.
Again, they rush just 2 with a spy. Murphy's got all kinds of time, but he can't get the ball far enough downfield to move the sticks. Thomas on the catch, but they're going to be well short of the 1st down. Yeah,
and just forcing the check down. I mean, it's the way that Tony Gibson decides to attack Malik Murphy, excuse me. They get everything in front of them, and there's only one downfield route towards the bottom of the screen, but everything else is run short of the sticks, hoping for a catch and run opportunity. But good job by this NC State defense. 2 drives in a row, forcing 3rd and long and tackling the receiver short of the line of game.
Reynolds with another outstanding kick. This one bouncing inside the 10. Can the Blue Devils cover it? They can't, as it bounces into the end zone for the touchback. 57 yards on that punt from Reynolds after a 63-yard punt on his first try. Duke's up 2-0 early.
ACC Network College Football is presented by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Monday is Veterans Day and Military Appreciation today here inside Carter Finley Stadium. Members of all the branches of the armed services are here. They came running out with the team, carrying their flags today, and they were at the middle of the field during the coin toss here in mass, watching the game. So I want to thank all our men and women.
And with Veterans Day on Monday.
Yes. Your wife,
yes,
a veteran as well. So
Danielle Smith.
Danielle, thank you.
10 years in the Army National Guard.
Can't even say NC State went 3 and out on their first possession. They went 2 and out.
Correct.
With the safety. So now an opportunity for a little redemption for Bailey and company. That's Jordan Waters up the middle. Pickup of about 4 on first down. Send it down to Coley on the field.
Guys, you remember when we caught up with NC State head coach Dave Doran yesterday? He was rattling off a number of quick facts about the North Carolina active duty military, like the 96,000 people who fall under that category. He's the son of a naval officer and the son-in-law of a Vietnam War vet. And because of that, Doran says that he is proud to recognize all the people who are in uniform here today.
Yeah, thanks for that, Coley. And it's Military Appreciation Day, Senior Day here in Raleigh, so it's a big day for Coach Doran and his team, also trying to become bowl eligible. Here's Bailey running the football, has enough room to pick up a first down. Ball's on the floor. Duke says they have it. Officials coming in, and they do.
Wow. 4 plays offensively for NC State. And they include giving up a safety and a turnover. That is not the start that Dave Doran wanted for his team. Let's see when this ball comes out. Yeah, and you see, right, it's just Ozzie Nicholas, number 45, takes that right hand and punches down on the football. Watch this right hand. Boom. And you can't see from that angle, but great job of punching the ball out. And
Cam Bergeron fell on it.
Good angle here. just punches right at that football. You're taught that all the time, and that's one of the reasons why Duke is so good at forcing fumbles. Number 2 in the country in forcing fumbles. They've been phenomenal in gaining turnovers. 21 gained coming into today. That's the 22nd turnover. That is good enough for second in the country. Jonathan Patke there, fired up.
That is how you celebrate getting a turnover when your defense has already scored all the points so far in this game, and now setting up your offense in NC State territory. Murphy to throw. Wants it all. Going for Higgins. He's got him! Incomplete, though. Higgins couldn't hang on when he went to the turf. What a perfect throw from Malik Murphy. Just dropped it right into the bread box. But Samir Higgins couldn't hang on.
The mid-throw was perfect. I mean, you said it right there. I mean, there were 3 defenders in the area, but he saw that Samir Higgins had an early lead on his defender. Just unable to come down with it at the end. You see how
Bishop Fitzgerald's in coverage.
Just unable to control it through the ground.
To give to Peyton Jones. He picks up maybe a yard. Betty again on the stop. Both of these teams, we talked about it a little bit earlier, Mark, they've really had a hard time establishing a running game all season long.
You know, they have. And for Duke, the thing that has worked for them has been the counter run game with the gap scheme, right? They'll pull a backside guard. They'll have a tight end stay around the box to get an extra running lane. But with the loss of Nicky Dalmolin and Jeremiah Hasley, their 2 top tight ends, just hasn't been as effective. This is where they line up in that max pro set where they keep 7 guys in to protect.
Nothing doing. Peyton Jones swallowed up. Bonner and Cleveland combining on the stop. And the difficulty running the football for the Blue Devils continues. It's 4th down.
Yeah, they went back to the counter OY, the exact play that we were talking about before. And it's different. When you're playing against this stacked defense, they run a 3-3-5, NC State does. And when you run this against a 4-down team, you get the 3 technique where you want it. Now it's going to set up a long field goal attempt for Duke.
Yeah, Topolino's going to try and split the uprights from 50 yards away. Got his leg into it, and it's good. Polino now 2 for 2 on the season from beyond 50. And the Blue Devils turn the turnover into 3 points. They're up early here by 5 in Raleigh. Welcome back to Raleigh. Duke's up 5-0 here early. And if you missed it before we came on the air, Georgia Tech with the big win in Atlanta today, upsetting number 4 Miami 28-23. Haynes King coming back from injury, had a huge game, both passing and mostly running the football. Miami had no answer from him. Cam Ward having his typical big day, but finally Miami was not able to come back in the 4th quarter like they had done so many times this year.
So many close games, so many times where you think, oh, is this going to be the game where Miami falls and doesn't come back in the 4th quarter? And credit to Georgia Tech for being good on offense in the 4th quarter. So many times, especially, even think of last week versus Duke, Miami, on a 21-point streak at the end of the game to win that one. Man, this is a crazy ACC. And
we've talked a lot about this Duke defense and how they just cause havoc. TFLs, sacks, turnovers, and the model has worked to perfection like it has all year early today.
Yeah, it has. And NC State has yet to attempt a pass. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they do that early on this drive.
Instead, to give up the middle, that's Hollywood Smothers. Picks up a couple. Vincent Anthony drops him for a loss. Coley, what's going on?
Well, Chris, we saw how animated the Duke sideline was after that fumble recovery on the last series. Well, check this out. Right after that play, I saw Blue Devils nose tackle Aaron Hall stalking the sideline, and then he looked up into the crowd. He shouted to the NC State fans behind the Duke bench about CJ Bailey. He's going to have a long night, and he had a little bit of an expletive mixed in there as well. He certainly has had his own hand in that long night night so far.
Yeah, it's been a long afternoon with the sun going down and the shadows getting a little bit longer here in Carter Finley. Smothers. Duke strings it out. He's got nowhere to go. He gained 2 on first down, and he's going to lose a couple here on second. Big old Wesley Williams. Second leading scorer in this game with 2 points after the safety, again with another TFL.
Yeah, they're coming on a zone pressure. Wesley Williams does a great job of dropping off into coverage and then reacting back to the run. And when you talk to Dave Doran, he's talked about the edges. The edges of this Duke defense were really good and twitchy, and they have made an impact in this game so far.
On 3rd and long. Duke showing pressure from the corner. That's Chandler Rivers who's coming. Bailey. Incomplete. Oh, the ball's down. They're going to rule it a fumble. And now the referee comes in and says, no, that's an incomplete pass. His hand was going forward, but to the officials' credit, they let the play on to make sure they get the call right. How about Rivers? He's made an interception in 3 straight games, and this time he pressures the quarterback.
Yeah, and you know they love to bring pressure from the defensive backfield, and you're right, that was Chandler Rivers. And watch this, that's Jalen Stinson. He is 5'8", 177 pounds working on the guard. I mean, look at that strain, and he's the one to get around C.J. Bailey's legs.
3 possessions and 8 yards of offense for NC State so far today, and Quayshawn Brown does a good job just clearing out of this one. Noonkester kicks it dead at the 25, 50 yards on the kick. Coming up tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on the ACC Network, Virginia and Pitt will battle at Acrisure Stadium. Wes Durham, Tom Luganville, and Dana Boyle on the call. As always, you can not only watch that game on the ACC Network, but also streaming live on the ESPN app. Now you have to start thinking teams with 1 loss in conference are saying, hold on a minute here. With Miami's loss, now it gets a little bit more interesting last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Thomas. NC State has just completely shut down this run game for Duke.
Well, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, there's just literally nothing for either of these teams. Defenses are playing well. A good job of coming off the edge.
That's T-Mac Cooley from the safety or his nickel spot.
Yeah, T-Mac. I mean, again, they're playing with the safeties around the line of scrimmage, and they're going to do that until either team threatens vertically. I mean, we've seen Malik Murphy take that shot to Hagens early on 2nd down. See if they go after it again.
Murphy again to throw. Now a little bit of pressure from NC State. Brown makes the catch. He gets drilled, but he hangs on, and now the flag comes in late. What a catch by Quayshawn Brown after he got absolutely pummeled by Bishop Fitzgerald.
They love this inside fade route. They take their slot guy, and they set down the outside receiver, and they run these inside fades. Let's see what this penalty is.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 7. The previous play is under further review.
Marcus Woods, our referee today in this ACC crew. The call is going to go against Fitzgerald, and it's going to be targeting.
We see the end of this inside fade.
Well, I don't know about that.
No.
What are the indicators there? It didn't lead with his head.
It didn't lead with his head, right? And yeah, I think that they reversed this. I think there's a couple reasons why, right? There's not a launch, right? He doesn't lower his head. There is contact made with the shoulder to the helmet. I don't know if it's contact that warrants targeting, right? You say, okay, is that a defenseless player? He's still in the act of catching the football.
When does that end? That's my question to you on that play. When does he become a runner and not defenseless? He turns upfield, takes 1-2 steps, and then he gets drilled.
Yeah, I think he's still in the process of the catch, right? If he had dropped that ball with the contact by the defender, that would have been an incomplete pass. So that's kind of when you make that determination. But you see how he kind of glances the face mask with his shoulder. Now, at full speed, it looked like a bigger hit. I will give the officials that. But right here, it seems more of a glancing blow than
under further review. There is no targeting. Number 7 may remain in the game. He's on the play as a first down.
And they've waved off targeting. So, Mark, I think you think that's probably the right call.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. You know, we talk about indicators being you leaving your feet or launching or lowering your head. There was no indicator there from the defender. And don't let that take away from the phenomenal throw again by Malik Murphy and the catch by Quayshawn Brown, a redshirt freshman that they're getting more involved in this offense because he makes plays just like that.
Duke back at NC State territory. Murph to throw. Wolfpack bring just 3. Going for it all again. What a throw and catch again. This time it's Jordan Moore who makes it for the score. Malik Murphy is putting on a clinic right now in terms of precision passing.
And Jordan Moore, this is a guy who started his career at Duke as a quarterback, and being a grad student now, he has had years at this wide receiver position, but this year it's been the contested catches that have set this wide receiver core from Duke apart. You saw it with Quayshawn Brown on the play before. You saw it with Samir Hagans in the end zone, and that one with Jordan Moore. Contested catch and phenomenal body control in the air. They're obviously taking a look to make sure that that is, in fact, a touchdown. But if you want to get your run game going, you spread the defense vertically. Make them defend and make them get out of man-to-man coverage on the outside.
And the coverage was outstanding by Aiden White. Just a perfect throw. An amazing concentration in bringing it down from Jordan Moore. And you mentioned amazing catches. How about last week?
Yeah, and last week, Duke had success on the outside versus Miami. Miami's a predominant man team. But it was after a catch like this. Watch Jordan Moore here. Oh, my goodness. After that catch, Miami said, look, we can't just line up on the outside and play man-to-man with these wide receivers anymore. And they got into zone coverage and really got Miami kind of out of what they normally do. And how about this one? Today, great placement of the football. Good job of high-pointing it, going up over top of the defender. Aiden White unable to get his head around the proper way. And that's a clear touchdown. And to me, this wide receiver core for Duke is probably the most improved and most veteran on their team. And watching the production of these wide receivers and the development of Quayshawn Brown, Samir Hagans developing, had a big 140-yard game last week. This is the real deal, the wide receivers for Duke.
And you get Eli Pancall back after he missed all of last year with an injury, too. A veteran who's made a lot of big plays in his career at Duke, and they are deep and talented. And speaking of talented, NC State's talented true freshman quarterback has got to figure some things out. We mentioned it after their last punt, Mark. Only 8 yards of total offense and a turnover and a safety against them.
Yeah, and they talk about superpowers, right? What's your superpower? What's the thing that sets you apart? And for C.J. Bailey, it's his accuracy with the football and it's his height. I mean, he's 6'6", and so he can see over the line of scrimmage. And so they want to get the ball out of his hands. They know the pass rush for Duke. I want to see some short, quick three-step game from him on this drive.
He'll throw on first down. Has time, and he has a receiver crossing over the middle. And that's Terrell Anderson, the true freshman. Sorry, Mark.
No, that's exactly it, right? Get him back, get some short receptions over the middle of the field, get him some quick passes on the outside. Slow this defensive line down. We talked about Aaron Hall. I mean, Coley reported on Aaron Hall talking to the crowd. I mean, he had 3 tackles on the first 3 plays, and he's a defensive tackle. Get away from him. Get away from these defensive linemen.
Duke bringing some pressure, and Bailey just has to chuck that one into the turf. All kinds of pressure from Ryan Smith. Brought some people from the secondary as well.
Yeah, they're trying to have a little tunnel screen to the running back. think his first option out to the wide receiver probably would give him some more space. It's going to bring up 3rd and short. C.J. Bailey can run the football. The zone read is an option in this territory. Unbalanced line of scrimmage. The tight end to the top of the screen is ineligible.
Bailey gives it to Waters, and he's going to be dropped, though, before he even got to the line of scrimmage. Kendi Charles was able to penetrate and pick up another TFL for this Duke defense. 4th down.
Well, it was Aaron Hall in the first series, and this one is Charles. Watch him. He's just going to take a loop around the center, and miscommunication. We talk about the NC State offensive line playing 5 as 1 last week. That time, everyone was kind of on their own page, and no one picked up Charles. Another TFL on 3rd down.
He's listed at 6 feet and 280. I think he tinkered with the scale a little bit on the day he was weighing in. He is a big old boy. Mooncaster's punt is blown dead after 43 yards. Coming up at 6:30 Eastern, the ACC Huddle crew back with highlights and complete breakdowns of all the afternoon games, including that big win for the Yellow Jackets in Atlanta. They'll get you set for Virginia and Pitt at 8 o'clock tonight. Then after that game, a full recap of all the day's games, including this one right here. And I'm sure a big part of that will be this great start by this Duke defense and by Malik Murphy and his receivers. NC State fans here on Senior Day obviously very concerned. Their 7th and final home game here this year before they wrap up the season with 2 on the road and still needing 1 win to become bowl eligible. What will Malik Murphy do for an encore? Comes up to his center, changes the play. Play clock down to 5. Thomas tries to bounce it outside. Doesn't have anywhere to go. Kamal Bonner again. And Malik Murphy might have to do it all today.
You know, these defenses both have been phenomenal against the run so far in this game, and it's been one-on-one wins on the outside. A lot of times you talk about let's get our defensive ends one-on-one with offensive tackles. Duke is in the position they want to get their wide receivers one-on-one with the corners, and when they see that, they're going to open it up. Right now it looks like NC State's playing more of a 2-man with 2 high safety coverage. See if they can get something going.
Back out again, rushing only 3. That's a dangerous pass, and it goes incomplete. Trying to get it to Jontavis Robertson. A little bit of a comeback pattern, but Brandon Cisse was all over in coverage.
2-man is something. Malik Murphy last week, he struggled against 2-man, where it presents as man-to-man on the outside. He's still got to check those safeties because that play right there, that could have been an interception with the way the ball was thrown. On 3rd down now, again, we've seen NC State drop off the football. They're showing 2 high man again.
Again, they come with 4. Murphy flushed. Now he goes down. Lost his footing, and he'll be dropped at the 25. 4th down.
And this is what happens against 2-man coverage when you do not have a tight end threat as a receiver. There's no one threatening the middle of the field, which is where you are weak in 2-man coverage. And great job by NC State's defense locking up all the outside receivers, and nowhere for Malik Murphy to go with the football.
Cade Reynoldson has already flipped the field twice. He'll try and do it a 3rd time for the Blue Devils. That is a good line drive kick. Casey Concepcion from his 24. Picks up about 5 on the return after a 50-yard kick. If you're just joining us, late in this first quarter, Duke's defense got started early, and they've been making things really tough on C.J. Bailey and company.
Yeah, already 3 TFLs. They've gotten hits on the quarterback twice, a sack, a forced fumble, a safety forced. I mean, statistically, you're watching Duke dominate defensively. and we have yet to see the passing game get going for C.J. Bailey.
No touches for Concepcion on offense so far today. The only time he's touched the ball has been on special teams. Now in motion to the top of your screen in the slot. Bailey's looking his way to throw.
Oh, no.
That's going to be an incomplete pass. That's what they're going to rule it. 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, this has got to be frustrating for Dave Doeren.
He just slipped out of his hands.
Yeah, well, that one, I think he saw linebacker covering the guy who was going to throw to him, just pushed it out there. But Dave Doeren, he was so excited about the way that his team was responding after the bye week. They got healthy. They put up 59 points, the most they've ever put up since being in ACC play last week. Just nothing so far.
Bailey to throw. That's a good strike. Justin Jolie is tight end. In a league full of good pass-catching tight ends, Jolie, the transfer from UConn, he might be the best of all of them.
Yeah, and especially on the seam route. Anywhere near the hashes, Justin Jolie shines, and that's a mismatch. If they can get that mismatch with Ozzie Nicholas, the transfer from Princeton at linebacker, on Justin Jolie, throw 15 the ball every time.
Bailey wants to throw again. Underneath. Picks up about 4 on 1st down. Hollywood Smothers on the catch. There's Nicholas again from his middle linebacker spot. First quarter in the books. NC State finally getting something going here on offense. Let's see if they can keep it going into the second.
Welcome back to Raleigh with Duke head coach Manny Diaz. Coach, your defensive line was a constant in the backfield in the first quarter. What kind of tone is your defense setting so far?
Yeah, they've been phenomenal, disruptive, making plays. Got our offense on some short fields, but their defensive line's been disruptive as well. They're blitzing the heck out of us. We got to do a better job picking that up.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Thank you, Coley. Coach Diaz coming back here in this defensive battle to start this second quarter for the first time today. NC State offense is getting going a little bit here inside of Duke territory. Blue Devils show pressure. Now they back out of it. Bailey has his receiver in the flat. That's not going to be much for Jolie. Picks up a couple of yards before Cam Bergeron drops him. NC State's first possession of the game, 2 plays and a safety, and that got this Duke defense fired up. They had a turnover on their next possession. They turned that into a field goal mark, and it's really been a case of C.J. Bailey just having a hard time getting going. Now he's starting to complete some passes, though, with a little bit of confidence. 3rd down and 4. Smothers. Nowhere to go. Alex Howard, the transfer from Youngstown State, brings him down, and both these defenses preventing running the football on a whole scale level.
Oh, I mean, there's not an inch. There's nothing out there, and it looks like NC State's going to keep their offense on the field on 4th and 4, and it really feels like right now this is going to be a battle of quarterbacks. Who is going to have a better game, C.J. Bailey or Malik Murphy?
Duke showing some pressure. They bring it. It's picked up initially, and Bailey hits Jolie. Flag down in the offensive backfield as Jolie easily picks up the 1st down. They'll mark him down at the 25. Let's check the marker.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 45. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
They'll go half the distance to the goal line, and NC State's in business.
You see late the extra shove by Ozzie Nicholas, just, not needed. But you see Jolie, he's aligned all the way out to the right-hand side, working on the safety, Jalen Stinson. That's a size mismatch. Jalen Stinson is 5'8", 177 pounds, working against the 6'3", 251-pound Justin Jolie. And so when you watched Ozzie Nicholas, the inside linebacker blitz, C.J. Bailey knows, look, if I can get this off to my size mismatch, we might have a win. Good job, good pickup on 4th down.
give to Waters. Runs over a Duke Blue Devil, but Joshua Pickett was able to hang on and bring him down. So the former Duke Blue Devil becoming reacquainted with his former teammates, transferring to NC State in the offseason. Led this Blue Devil team with 12 touchdowns running the football last year. And he's got 4 so far this year for the Pack. Got about 3 on first down.
Got Jolie and Concepcion right there in the slot. 2 top targets for C.J. Bailey in the red zone.
Bailey looking near side. Receiver fell down, and it's incomplete. Chandler Rivers picked up almost another INT as Jakari Collins slipped a little bit coming out of his break.
Trying to get the ball to the big 6'4", 215-pound Jakari Collins, but Chandler Rivers, his footwork is so precise. His ability to make plays in the football is so good. He has had interceptions each of the past 3 weeks.
Looked like a little miscommunication there too, as I think maybe Collins thought that might be a fade to the corner, and Bailey was trying to put it on his back shoulder. Wolfpack 0 for 3 on third down. Gonna pressure this time, and they get to him. Jalen Stinson says, I may be only 5'8", 177 pounds, but I can rush a quarterback.
Jalen Stinson again bringing pressure. You see him, he's working on Jordan Waters, and just good job on the inside move. Again, we talked about his height. That doesn't matter, right? He is so good at keeping his feet moving, so aggressive to the football. Just a great job by the rover, Jalen Stinson, getting in the backfield for another sack.
So it'll bring on Kyle Vineset to attempt a 30-yard field goal and put NC State on the board. And he sneaks it inside the left upright. 3 points for the Wolfpack. 11:27 left to go in this first half. It's a defensive slugfest, but the Wolfpack get on the board. We mentioned the top, Duke going through a modest 2-game losing streak. They started the season 5-0. Bunch of come-from-behind wins, including one over North Carolina, their rivals. UConn's going to be a bowl team this year as well. But then they lost 3 out of 4. Game against SMU, you know Coach Diaz really thought they probably should have won that game. Certainly could have. It was an overtime loss. Then they were ahead 28-17 against Miami in the third quarter, and it just fell apart at the end of that game. But off to a good start here today, up 12-3.
Yeah, the defense against SMU created 6 turnovers. I don't think I've ever seen a time where a team has forced 6 turnovers and still lost the game. That was, there was Kevin Jennings, was Houdini in that game, but you're right. I mean, it's been fourth quarters for Duke. Really, it's been when they can finish the game well, then they get the wins. When they're unable to finish the game well, like against Miami, where Miami outscored them 21-3 in the fourth quarter last week, they were unable to get that win.
Malik Murphy back out, 12-3. The lead for Duke. Thomas once again. They're trying the middle of that NC State defense and nothing to do it. Davin Van, Brandon Cleveland and company just putting up a stone wall.
Davin Van is so good. He gets so much recognition for forcing fumbles. He leads the nation in forced fumbles and coming off the edge, but just watch number 1 in the middle. I mean, taking on 2 blocks, getting penetration. There's nowhere for these pullers to go when there's that inside penetration. Davin Van, the grad student, playing in his last game here at Carter Finley Stadium. He has meant so much to this Wolfpack program over the years.
Quickly out to start Thomas. Beautiful play defensively. That was Brandon Cisse from his cornerback spot, dropping Thomas immediately for a 5-yard loss.
This play is unbelievable. I mean, Brandon Cisse, he's the best corner on this team for a reason. Watch him fire. I mean, just go. He understands the play. This is film study. He knows what's happening. I got to beat the tight end, and he just is shot out of a cannon into the backfield. Tony Gibson, the D coordinator at NC State, he has had a lot of good players here. He talks about Brandon Cisse, the true sophomore, as maybe one of the best corners he has ever had.
Now Duke facing a 3rd and long. Murphy connects. Got work to do, though. And Brown nowhere near picking up that first down. He does get 9 yards, but Sean Brown, dropping Quayshawn Brown, about 8 yards shy of the target to gain.
And again, NC State dropping back, 8 guys in coverage. We're going to play soft zone over top coverage, make you throw the football underneath and trust our guys to rally and tackle. They have been phenomenal so far as Duke has been 0 for 5 on 3rd downs today.
Concepcion calling for a fair catch at the 32. Makes it. And the Wolfpack back on offense, looking to chip away at this Duke advantage when we come back. Senior day here inside Carter Finley, and 21 seniors made the walk, including Grayson McCall. That was an unbelievable mullet. C.J. Bailey cheering McCall and company.
Gotta say, those mullets, that's probably one of my favorite parts about the 2024 season. Watching all these mullets of all these guys.
I mean, you got the mohawk, and I always think I'd love to show up in week 1 with a mullet of my own, but it takes a lot of work.
It's a lot of dedication.
A lot of dedication, a lot of time, because when it's a half mullet, when it's on its way to all that glory, it's not a good look.
No.
If you can only sequester yourself for about 6 months and get it like that. McCall's been working on that thing probably for a year and a half. New opportunity for Bailey and Kendrick Raphael in the backfield. Let's see what he can do when he falls forward for a gain of about 2 before Bergeron brings him down. Coley, what's going on?
Chris, speaking of Senior Day, it was 31 years ago this fall when Dave Doran stood on the field at Drake Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa, and he looked around and saw the overcast sky that day as he was remembering playing his final college football game. And because of that memory, Doran said he's always cherished Senior Day and told his players today to make sure you soak in each and every moment, not just playing on the field, but each and every moment outside of that as well.
Yeah, he said he remembered every single detail, the weather and how he felt looking up to the stands and kind of taking it all in. 5-man rush here. Bailey forced out of the pocket. Can he turn the corner? He's got some room if he does. And he's just going to be about a yard or so shy of the first down.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was interesting listening to Dave Doran kind of recap that, right? And the last time he ever played football. And for some of the guys who do make it to the NFL, you really just don't know. You don't know when your last time playing football is, so it's hard to savor that moment. But when you're out here on Senior Day, you know it's going to at least be your last time playing at this home stadium, which means so much to guys like Davin Vann who have played their whole career here.
Bailey, his career is just getting started. So is this drive. First down, but a flag in the secondary. And Bailey comes up hobbling a little bit. Bailey slid at the end of that play, and a little ginger, but if trying to walk it off. Let's check the marker.
Holding. Defense. 10-yard penalties at the end of the play. First down.
And the protection was actually pretty good there for C.J. Bailey, but he missed a wide open Justin Jolie. Justin Jolie is running this vertical route from the seam. Cam Bergeron is on him, and you're right here, he's open. You're right, you got to let that go. The safety's rotating over top. So he just springs the ankle on the slide.
That got it caught.
That lead foot looks like it got caught in the turf.
Fresh set of downs now inside of Duke territory. Duke shows pressure. They bring 5. It's picked up. Has a receiver inside the 20. That's Rodgers. So Bailey got his tight end involved, and Justin Jolie now he's starting to look for his receivers a bit. And Noah Rodgers, the Ohio State transfer, picks up 26.
They caught Duke in the pressure, and good job by his offensive line. Finally starting to play as a unit, protecting C.J. Bailey enough for him to hit the vertical shot downfield. Both guys on the hash marks came open late. Good job by the O-line giving time for their quarterback.
Wolfpack back in the red zone where they've had a lot of success this year. Bailey looking to throw. Flag down as he goes to the end zone. Just overshoots his man, Jolie.
And it looks like Alex Howard, the linebacker, fell down on that play, who was covering Jolie.
Defense, number 3. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And that was the defender. That's number 3, Alex Howard.
Is that a desperation situation, Mark, where he had to grab the receiver?
Yeah, and you watch here on the left side, that's the matchup. You see the inside move. I mean, that's a bear hug.
Yeah, that is a tackle. Almost brought him down, but Bailey recognized that his receiver was open. Couldn't quite get it to him. So the second defensive holding penalty on this drive. And NC State ever closer. Fake to Waters. Pressure on the edge. Good catch. Not much of a gain that time by Keenan Jackson. Jalen Stinson did a nice job of closing down that gap. Usually a loss on the play. Another flag in the backfield.
Offensive pass interference. It'll be second down.
They'll pick up the flag.
Jalen Stinson, I've been so impressed with him his whole career here at Duke. He just made a phenomenal play coming from his rover position, coming downhill, flying. It is not easy to tackle Casey Concepcion. He did that to perfection on that play.
Kendrick Raphael back in the game for NC State. Second down and goal to go. Bailey moves the pocket. Pressure hits him. Trying to get into the corner, but that one was overthrown.
Duke brought the house and looked like Wesley Williams, number 97, who got vertical on that right-hand side of the O-line, just kind of pulling up C.J. Bailey and getting a hit on him, forcing him to throw the ball over top of his wide receiver. And with the way this game has been played, you got to imagine that 7 points here for NC State, or you just, that's at a paramount, right? You got to get the 7 points here, the touchdown, to try to feel like you didn't waste a drive getting down here.
To the end zone. Incomplete. They got it to Concepcion, but he was forced out of the back of the end zone, couldn't get a foot down.
I think it was Jalen Stinson that gave Casey Concepcion a piggyback ride and just brought him out of bounds. Him and Deshaun Stone did a great job of converging on the receiver. You watch this, it's a good throw high in the back of the end zone. But as Casey Concepcion is coming down to land, both of those defenders just carry him out of bounds.
NC State will have to settle for a vine set attempt here. 28 yards. Snap, the hold, and kick are all good. Two straight scoring drives for the Wolfpack, both field goals. It's 12-6. Duke on top. NC State freshman quarterback C.J. Bailey won 3 straight state championships at Chaminade Madonna in Hollywood, Florida. Look at the talent he had around him on those teams. No wonder they were winning titles.
It's ridiculous. He won the state championship his sophomore, junior, and senior year. He was 2-time Florida Offensive Player of the Year. 38-2 as a starter at Chaminade Madonna.
In Florida.
This dude knows how to win. I think that's one of the things that the coaches talked about was just, look, the speed of these wide receivers and defensive backs were not anything new to me. grew up playing in the 7-on-7 tournaments with all these guys who are playing on the outside here in college football.
Samir Higgins picking up what he can, but he won't even get out to the 20. That's a rarity, a return against this NC State kickoff team. Coley, what's going on down there in the field?
Yeah, guys, we saw North Carolina State quarterback C.J. Bailey get up, hobbled after a slide on that last drive. When he came over to the sideline, he was holding his left hand and wincing as he was pointing to his left ankle. We saw athletic trainers actually taping both of his ankles, and I can tell you that he did not have tape on either one, so they want to make sure there's stability on both of his feet as he moves forward. He seemed to be moving around just fine once that was administered. We will see what he does next drive for NC State.
His counterpart, Malik Murphy, 7 for 9 for 111 yards and a brilliant touchdown. That's a dangerous pass there, but he makes it work for him as he hits Eli Pancol in double coverage.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable throw. How about Malik Murphy? I mean, it's a really good job by the defender buzzing out to the flat, just unable to get under the route, and a good throw by Malik Murphy. And one thing we're seeing out of this Duke offense right now, they're playing with 6 offensive linemen on a lot of these downs. They're bringing an extra offensive lineman in, playing that tight end position, and then the tight end is playing more of a wide receiver position. Now they're back to the regular 5-man line with the tight end at the top of the point.
Bunch formation near side. Brown can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. We're pulling out all the stops, trying to get it into the hands of their playmakers. A little bit of pushing and shoving after that play, but it's almost like no matter what they try running the football, whether it's jet sweep getting in the hands of a speedy receiver, it's not really working out for them.
No, I think right now for Duke, it's look, we got to run the ball to keep NC State honest defensively. If we don't keep running the ball and at least having the threat of the run, NC State is going to light us up and bring pressure. And really line up in 4 wide, more of a passing set.
Murphy underneath Thomas. We'll mark him down at the 35 as Brown and Bonner pinballed him around. New star Thomas, all-conference USA last year at New Mexico State, transferred in. Coaching staff talking about how he lost some weight in the offseason to become more of a shifty and a quicker back.
Yeah, he lost 20 pounds to be 210 pounds. I mean, he was a big back, and he's really good at breaking tackles. And I think one of the ways that he has got explosive is with making that second effort play. NC State has been phenomenal at tackling on the first time so far in this game.
3rd down and 5.
Play clock's running down.
And they don't get it off. The whistle is Duke had to call a timeout there to avoid the penalty, and they do get it. Manny Diaz, cool as a cucumber over there on the sideline. Coming up tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on the ACC Network. Virginia heading into the Steel City to take on Pittsburgh. West Tom and Dana going to be there for the call. Not only can you watch that game on the ACC Network, but also streaming live on the ESPN app. I feel like a lot of teams toward the top of the ACC standings maybe getting some new life with that Georgia Tech win over Miami. You look at the college football playoff rankings, the initial one that came out this past Tuesday.
I know you're excited about the rankings coming out because means something. Actually,
yes,
what they look at.
They weren't basing it on the AP poll. Finally,
look at SMU and right now, Pitt. They're back in it. Miami obviously is still towards the top, and I think Clemson's the other one who now starts feeling like maybe there's a chance. If another team falls, we could be right back in it.
Duke go for 5 on 3rd down, facing another one here, 3rd and 5. NC State brings pressure. Murphy trying to hit Brown downfield. Defended well by D.K. Kaufman, no flag.
Malik Murphy does a great job of escaping the pressure, and I'm a little bit surprised that wasn't a pass interference call on the back end from DK Kaufman. He's downfield. I think it's the fact he gets his head back. That's really what saves him, because there is contact as the wide receiver is trying to work back to the football. If he does not get his head back around, that is a easy pass interference call. Good job and good technique by Kaufman.
Reynolds kicks Concepcion, comes over to field it. Inside the 15, flag down. That's going to be a block in the back, and it's going to come way back. Concepcion was able to pick up 16 on the return, but they'll bring it all the way back. The officials are discussing it like maybe there's a little question here.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 14, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, it'll be first down.
I mean, this is a little bit of a ticky-tack call. You see, watch here. Watch the right hand gently graze the back of the defender. And I think the officials, this play happens so fast, right? And so all they see is that defender or a blocker standing right behind the guy trying to make a tackle, and the flag comes out.
Jackson Vick was the guilty party of touching the defender in the back.
Yes.
Still goes against NC State, so back up deep inside their own territory. 3:13 left to play in this first half. They've scored field goals on each of their last 2 offensive drives. Still looking to get into the end zone for the first time today. They're going to have to go 93 yards if they want to do it on this drive. And that's a good start. At least Jordan Waters still on his feet. Moving the pile forward. Getting out to about the 14.
And they brought an extra tight end. They brought Dante Daniels, number 87, in the game at tight end with the 12 personnel. And really, that was their most successful run of the entire day. It'll be interesting to see if that's something that they sprinkle in, again, as this game goes on. Yeah, obviously they're trying to get off their goal line, but with success there, bringing up second and short, I wouldn't be surprised to see a shot here on second and short, because if they fail, well, now they have a false start. So now everything I'm about to say goes away, and they got to move on back.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That was not peak performance from Jacarius Peak, who was a little overeager. 5 yards back. You had Concepcion lining up in the backfield behind Bailey on that play.
Yeah, and I think what they're trying to do is say, look, we got to get our guys the ball. And if we can't throw the ball to Casey Concepcion, we're going to need to hand the ball off to him. Robert Anae gets very creative in getting his playmakers the football when things aren't working to plan initially.
Waters tries to bounce it outside. Doesn't get anywhere. Ozzie Nicholas. The fans here might have wanted a face mask. They don't get it. Now we get a flag late.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
Nope, just a timeout. Look at Nicholas is saying, no, it wasn't face mask. I got him right here in the jersey.
Yeah, and great job. 45 again. It's been stopping the run by both these teams all day, and NC State with a chance with 2 minutes left when we come back.
The Huddle crew is in Pittsburgh, getting you set for the Auto Owners Insurance halftime report. They'll have first half highlights and analysis of our game, show you what happened in Atlanta with the big upset of the Hurricanes, and get you up to date on what's happening with Virginia Tech and Clemson as well. So coming up, Auto Owners Insurance halftime report. Bailey to throw. Pressure up the middle. Gets rid of it. But undershoots Concepcion. As Bailey just did not have enough time to let Concepcion come out of his break, covered nicely by Chandler Rivers.
A good pressure by Michael Reese. Create a stunt game up front with their 4 inside linemen, and just again, nothing going on offense for NC State.
And now Samir Hagans is standing by right on top of the Wolfpack logo in midfield, hoping to give his Blue Devils good field position. He'll fair catch it, though, after another good kick from Newcastle at his own 43, and that's where Duke will take over. A minute and 48 left to go in this first half. We talked about the importance of the ACC. Most importantly, with Miami's loss, a lot of teams feel like they're kind of right back into this hunt, but also a lot of teams trying to become bowl eligible. If you look at the ACC standings at the start of the weekend, man, tons of 4 and 5, 5 and 4 teams, 5 and 5. A lot of teams looking for that elusive 6th win. NC State's looking for it today. Georgia Tech picked it up earlier today with that win against Miami.
A lot of opportunity for Pittsburgh with only one loss.
New life.
New life, and right now Clemson's down to Virginia Tech, 7-0.
2-minute offense for Duke. Thomas finally gets a little bit of room to run and gets it into NC State territory. That's a first down. Just picking and choosing his spots gets him 11 yards. See how fired up he is about finally able to get a little room.
Getting a little breathing room. Again, this Duke offense, they've not been consistently gaining yards. They've gained it in chunks. And it's been mostly the wide receivers on the outside making plays.
Murphy to throw. Going downfield and just overshoots his receiver Hagans. Von Marshall on the coverage. Overshooting Hagans on that one, but you can see from Malik Murphy, he throws a beautiful long ball.
He does, and you got a little crowded there as NC State brought Kamel Bonner pressuring the running back. He did get that ball out there, throwing off the back foot.
Star Thomas gave him just that little bit of extra time to get rid of it. 2nd down and 10. NC State brings just 3. Great pass and catch, Quayshawn Brown. Yards mark. How do you find any space when there are 8 players for NC State dropping back and cover?
Well, now you kind of flood the sideline, and that's what they did on that last play. They had, and as we watch this right here, we have a guy goes to the flat, we got up and then out, and it's that corner route that becomes open. And there's a great delivery by Malik Murphy to Quayshawn Brown in the corner.
Duke has 2 timeouts on the board. And a first down here. Thomas trying to spin his way out of a tackle and does. Gets it to the 2nd level and picks up 8.
And that's where he picks up so many of his yards after first contact. And so far, NC State, up until that play, has not had a missed tackle all game. Good job by Star Thomas breaking that one.
Clock continues to run. Murphy looking over to the sideline and changes the play. Getting a lot of time work off this clock here. Thomas out of the backfield. Makes a defender miss, picks up the first down, and gets out of bounds to stop the clock. So that's 2 straight plays. We've seen something from Thomas that he's so good at. We just haven't seen it yet today until now.
Yeah, Devin Marshall that time just unable to make the tackle on the sideline. And those are the types of things that, turn 3rd downs into 1st downs. Another good play by Star Thomas, just making something when there was nothing there.
And you pick up a first down and you preserve those 2 timeouts on the board.
They're getting into this unbalanced set again where this tight end becomes ineligible.
Timeout, North Carolina State. Their first 30-second timeout.
And NC State calling the timeout there. Let's take another look at that last play by Star Thomas.
Yeah, it's a good play. And You get Jordan Moore down to at the one receiver to that side, and Devin Marshall comes off of Jordan Moore as the safety rolls over top and comes downhill, is in the right position, but Star Thomas does such a good job with his feet. I think that's the difference this year for Star Thomas. You talk about it being at 230 pounds a year ago at New Mexico State. He leaned up, and his footwork has gotten so much better with the just a few extra pounds off, and they're really excited about what he brings. They lost Jaquez Moore, their running back, early in the season, and Star Thomas has been a great addition to this backfield.
First down, 23 seconds to go. Inside the 10, ball stolen away, taken away by the Wolfpack. Inside the 30, Marshall inside the 20 before he's finally tracked down with 6 seconds remaining on the clock. And then the Duke Blue Devils say there was another fumble before he was down. I think officials are going to rule that Marshall was down after a 70-yard return. Check that, that was T-Mac Cooley, not 16 but 15 mark, who ripped the ball right out of the ball carrier's hands. And it was Pang call at first, so let's see the play. Here's the end of it.
What? Jake Taylor, excuse me, number 15, tackling number 15. Yeah, knee down before that ball comes out.
And it was Cooley.
Just a great job. I mean, you get a guy stood up, and you're always talking about, look, the first defender stands the guy up, the second defender strips at the football, and with 6 seconds left, NC State is lining up for a field goal.
And whistles are going to blow dead as Duke wants a timeout to ice Feinstead a little bit.
They're second.
On this 38-yard try. What a turn of events at the end of the first half here, with points at a major premium in this game. Duke had an opportunity to put at least 3 on the board and maybe even 7, and instead it's a fine play by T-Mac Cooley. And even though he was on the 20-yard line, I feel like it might have taken him 6 seconds to go 20 yards, as low on fuel as he was at the end of that run.
Yeah, you see, just a great job of stripping the ball. Right here, you get surprised that he's even caught, right? If you just stay straight, I feel like he's not getting caught. He stumbles a little bit, and phenomenal job by Jake Taylor. The tight end, he's playing because the 2 first guys have been out, but that could be a game-changing type play by T-Mac Cooley.
Feinstead is hit from 30 and 28. Trying for his 3rd of the day from 38. Right up the middle. And with just 1 tick left on the clock, a lot of momentum now for that man squad going into the halftime break. And for Manny Diaz, we've seen it all before, but that was a big play in the ear point, though. It's as big a play as it was for 15 in black. It was a big play for 15 in white to prevent that from being a touchdown.
Yeah, and then that one play right there is at least a 6-point swing. You take 3 points off the board where Duke could line up and kick that field goal if they don't score a touchdown, and you get 3 points yourself. And in this type of game, right, it feels like there's not a lot happening, right? But defenses are playing so well. It's all about the big plays in this game. It's about big plays receiving, big plays forcing safeties, forcing turnovers. And that right there, that was the biggest play yet today for NC State.
Smith sends it into the end zone. You've got to think after the touchback, this will be a take-a-knee situation for Duke on offense. huddle crew standing by up in Pittsburgh. Finally enjoying some fall temps as we are today in central North Carolina. Gorgeous fall afternoon and evening. We got ourselves a good football game here. Murphy will take a knee and the clock will run out. 1 half in the books. Malik Murphy and his Duke Blue Devils came out on fire today, especially defensively.
And you know, talk about a game where both teams came in wanting to establish the run. Only 28 yards rushing for NC State and 4 yards rushing for Duke. It's just been about big plays, whether it's defensively or offensively.
Coley standing by on the field.
Well, Coach, both defenses have been playing very well so far. DeMarcus Cooley with that huge play just now. How does your team build off of that defensive momentum in the second half?
Yeah, it's been a defensive game. You know, defense is doing a great job keeping us in it. Offensively, we need to make some adjustments. They're not playing like they did on film. A lot of zone, you know what I mean? And we prepare for a lot of man-to-man. So halftime is going to be critical. We need to get some scores and help our defense and get the turnover margin flip back in our favor.
Yeah, how much of what they're doing defensively is making it a little more difficult for CJ to get comfortable at?
I mean, he's a freshman. He's getting a bunch of new looks. And so we'll go in there and correct it, and he'll do a great job in the second half.
Great. Thanks very much, Coach.
Thank you, Coley and Coach. So much about second half adjustments. And you know the crew in the huddle want to talk about that. Let's send you to Taylor and that crew in Pittsburgh right now for the halftime report.
Welcome to the Auto Owners Insurance Halftime Report.
Yeah! Welcome in. Halftime between Duke and NC State with the Blue Devils on top, 12-9. But we are here in Pittsburgh, and the Pitt fans are out in full force as we're getting ready for prime time at Acrisure Stadium right behind us between 18th ranked Pitt and Virginia. But the game that we're watching right now on ACC Network, an interesting one when you look at the stat sheet and the score and everything that occurred in the first half.
Right.
How would you sum it up in Raleigh so far?
Well, turnovers. I mean, that last play that we saw, Duke's going, the passing game's looking great, and then the turnover happens. And you just got to take care of the ball in this type of game. Neither team's running the ball well. 5 rushing yards for Duke, 28 for NC State. Whoever can get that going. But if it's all about the passing game, I'm leaning towards Duke. That defense is playing great, making C.J. Bailey uncomfortable. And Malik Murphy, I trust him a little bit more than the young freshman and C.J. Bailey.
Yeah, as Dave Doran just said, NC State does get the ball coming out in the third quarter. He said halftime is going to be critical in order to make those offensive adjustments because right now 3 field goals on the day is just probably not going to cut it against Duke. Meanwhile, in Raleigh, Duke on top at halftime, 12-9 in a low-scoring affair, but this was nice. Malik Murphy to Jordan Moore.
Man.
Another great catch to add on to his reel. We'll be back with more on the other side of this halftime report.
Look at that gorgeous sunset in Raleigh, North Carolina. We are set to start the second half in our game between Duke and NC State. Blue Devils with a 12-9 lead in a defensive battle. Mark Hurst and Chris Cotter with you. You're a defensive guy. You love a game like this, don't you?
No, I do. You like seeing the excitement of the offense, but there's been just really good tackling, really sound defense. And I think what we're going to see is what adjustments have been made in the locker room by these offensive coaches, because you get a feel for what the defense is doing. We heard Dave Doran talk about, hey, look, Dave Doran said, look, they're doing something different to what we thought they were going to do. We have to change that up. So we're going to see the adjustments that they made in at halftime and whether any of these offenses can get going.
NC State will get the ball to start this second half as Cosme Salas will kick it off for the Blue Devils. And he kicks it out of bounds. So the Wolfpack will get good field position to start this drive.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team number 39. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
NC State team, one thing you could say about them offensively, Mark, is they could do nothing in the first quarter. At least C.J. Bailey was able to connect on a few passes, get the running game going a little bit, and move them down the field in that second quarter. A couple of field goals, and then they got a field goal after the late turnover to make this a 3-point margin. Bailey to throw. Going downfield. Overshoots his man. The tight end, Jolie. As Terry Moore was in coverage. Coley Harvey's down in the field.
Yeah, well, guys, I spoke with Duke head coach Manny Diaz at half, and he said this drive right here for his defense is important to snatching back the momentum in this game. He wants his defense to make sure that they continue to stop allowing North Carolina State to run the football as well as limiting those explosive plays. He said we really want to make this quarterback grind the ball down the field. That's going to be the difference in this half. He also wants his quarterback, Malik Murphy, to continue throwing the ball deep downfield. They're blitzing this offense. That's making things hard.
Oh, that's what they want to do, though. They want to get Concepcion involved any way they can, whether it's in the passing game or the running game. But there's a flag behind the play, and that big game's coming back.
65, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Jacarius Peak, guilty of holding on the edge.
We haven't seen a lot of the inside zone run yet from NC State. That was trying to be that inside zone, and Casey Concepcion does a great job with his vision finding the cutback lane. Really one of the first times you saw him get to the second level, but the hold came on the outside. And now NC State's backed up on second down. Sees man coverage, he's making adjustments to the wide receivers' routes on the outside.
Overthrows Concepcion.
Another flag behind the play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 97, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's going to be a roughing the passer against Wesley Williams, and Manny Diaz was incredulous over on the sideline. Now he's looking at the jumbotron. He's like, how? Well, that's a late hit. Even if it's not much of a hit at all, why even do it?
Yeah, again, if this was 15 years ago when I was playing, that would have been nothing. But, just Wesley Williams, he has to know that there's just no need to even get that extra bump on C.J. Bailey. That was almost after the ball had already passed Casey Concepcion.
It's almost like no matter how soft of a hit it was so ridiculously late, you have to call it. Now Waters. Good run on first down. Nicholas brings him down, but that's positive yardage. Good 7 yards on first down. And just as Manny Diaz talked to Coley about how important this first drive in the second half was to his defense was in a great spot. Second down and 20. And now they've given this NC State offense, which has struggled for a good part of this night, new life at midfield.
Fourth penalty of the night for Duke. They have the same number of penalties as rushing yards in this game.
Waters just powers his way for a couple of more. Kenny Charles, the Liberty transfer on the stop. It'll bring up a big third down. Markham just about 1.5 yards shy of the line to gain. It's right at the 50.
Looks like NC State's going to bring in their 12 personnel package with 2 tight ends on the field.
Waters. Second effort, third effort might have gotten him there. It did. Jalen Stinson comes up to make the tackle, but Jordan Waters wasn't going to be denied on that carry.
That was only a second third down conversion for NC State this entire game, and we're seeing them move the ball down the field steadily, right? They've gotten it in chunks before. This is so far as their steadiest drive of the game. A free play.
Bailey's going to try and take advantage. Going deep for Rogers. Almost high-pointed it in double coverage. Stinson was down there.
Offside.
Kendi Charles, I think, jumped.
5-yard
He
penalty.
did.
First down.
And for a defensive line that started the game so strong for Duke, the TFLs, the forced fumbles, the start of this second half for the D-line, it's been, knucklehead penalties, giving life to this offense for NC State. And CJ Bailey is the type of quarterback that, if he gets in a rhythm, he's got enough talent to beat you. You just can't let him get there.
It'll be 1st and 5, and now we get a timeout. But NC State wants to put a halt to this for a little bit. I can tell you that Dave Doran was unhappy about the end of that play, Mark. He thought pass interference should have been called on Noah Rogers downfield, that the defender got there too soon. And the crowd kind of reacting to that replay as well on the Jumbotron. But we'll take a quick break. We'll show you the end of that previous play when we come back. Welcome back to Raleigh on that previous play, the free play on the defensive offsides. Taking a look at this downfield, Dave Doran really was upset at the officials. Thought there should have been pass interference.
I think he has reason to be upset. You see Jalen Stinson arrived just way too early. Joshua Pickett never got his eyes around. I mean, it's a full-on body check before the ball reaches there. You see the sideline asking for a flag, and Dave Doran's like, guys, hey, how is that not pass interference? Could have been another costly penalty for this Duke defense.
Yeah, Duke has 5 penalties on the game, all 5 against the defense. 1st and 5 after the offside infraction. Bailey's going to keep it. Turned it outside. Thought he might have had more room if he cut it back inside. Still was able to pick up 3 yards before Terry Moore brought him down.
But again, he brings it outside, and we're seeing 2nd and 2, right? We're seeing 2nd down and short, where the entire first half we saw 2nd and 12, 2nd and 11. And on 2nd and short, I would love to see NC State take a shot here.
Instead, they hand it off. Raphael is going to get the first down.
And they feel like they got their steady drive going, and yes, pick up the first down. Anytime you get in the 2nd and short in the opponent's territory, I love taking shots, at least trying to extend the ball downfield vertically, because then if you miss, if it is an incomplete pass, it winds up with 3rd and 2. But either way, this drive stays alive.
Smothers and Raphael now both in the game for the Wolfpack. That play, the timing was totally off. It was almost a great catch by Smothers as the throw was behind him. Looked like Bailey was anticipating that snap from Zeke Coral a little bit earlier.
And this will be a big down for NC State, right? We talked about that last 2nd and 2. Now we're at 2nd and 10. We're back to 2nd and 10. So you need to have a play that puts you in 3rd and 6 or less, right? You don't want to have 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. The way Duke has been getting after the quarterback, you need to get at least 4 yards here on this 2nd down play.
Bailey to throw quickly. Hits his receiver at the 30. That's going to be Wesley Grimes, the transfer from Wake Forest, and that picks up a big chunk. They're going to be about 1.5 yards shy. Now a late flag comes out. A lot of pushing and shoving here at the start of this second half, and it's finally going to come back to haunt somebody. Manny Diaz is hot. And I think that's the person he's hot at.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Defense number 91. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And that's the reason why, because Kendi Charles got caught. Whether he was the first one or the second one, the flag goes against 91 and white. That's a big first down.
Yeah, and again, you're right, it's composure. I mean, Duke has been in this situation before. They've had leads, right? They've been in games. And this is just, Kendi Charles, he jumped off sides before, right? And now, with the finger pointing, you got to imagine that something happened. He could have
Maybe contact with the official while everybody was pushing and shoving in there.
Yeah, or he said something, right? Yeah, just one of those things where either way the flag is thrown, and now you get NC State inside the red zone.
Bailey looking to throw to the corner. He just overshoots his man, the 6'4" Dakari Collins. This is his real estate down here. I'm surprised Collins only has one touchdown on the year. 6'4", 214 pounds. I would think, you talk about guys like Chandler Rivers, great cornerback, but he's 5'10". I would think they just throw it up to my 6'4" guy in the corner.
Dakari Collins, he's only had 15 catches on the year, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that hey, we got a new quarterback in, trying to find that connection with the young C.J. Bailey.
Bailey's going to keep it. Eludes one tackler, dropped it to 6. And mark it at the 7. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
What a drive for NC State. 10 plays, 58 yards. And they've gained all their yards on rushing plays or penalties. 3 accepted penalties for 35 yards in this drive.
2 tight ends. Bailey's going to give it to Waters. Swallowed up immediately. Wesley Williams knocks him back. He'll mark it right about at the same spot. 4th down and 2 here, Mark.
With 4th down and 2, I kind of feel like you kick the field goal and you tie this game up. And I'm sure a lot of analytics say go for it in this situation. But with the way that this Duke defense has been playing, if you get stopped here, you give them all that confidence back, and all those penalties, all that kind of non-disciplined play that they had on this drive, that all goes out the window if you don't convert this on 4th down.
Play clock was winding down a little bit. I'm confident that Coach Doran wasn't quite sure what he was doing there, so he wanted to call a timeout, make sure that he got the right play called with the right execution as that play clock was winding down, whether he ultimately decides to go for it or not. The 12th play of this drive, as you mentioned, Mark, started on their own 35. And Dave Doran hope it ends in 6 instead of 3. Now he's down to just 1 timeout left, though, so keep that in mind. In a really tight game here in the second half. Now he's going to kick it. Brings in Vineset. And this will be a 25-yard attempt.
Yeah, and if I'm NC State, right, I'm doing a hard count on the field goal, right? Try to get Duke to jump off sides. If not, you kick it, and you walk away tied.
Good snap and hold. Vineset. His 4th field goal of the day, responsible for every point on the board for the Wolfpack. And Dave Doran's club has tied this thing up 12 apiece in the 3rd quarter.
Want the latest on today's games? Just tell Siri. Show me the ACC football scores.
Appreciate that, Siri. Let's take a look at them. As we had a huge game in Atlanta earlier today. Georgia Tech with the win over Miami, knocking the Hurricanes from the ranks of the unbeaten. Boston College with a nice win over Syracuse at home as well. And in progress, Clemson has scored in the 3rd quarter. Virginia Tech and Clemson all knotted up at 7 apiece. Here we are all knotted up at 12 apiece. As NC State has battled their way back into this one after an inauspicious beginning to knot things up about midway through this 3rd quarter. All field goals from Kanoa Vineset. And Colin Smith will once again drive this kick out of the back of the end zone. So it's been a little bit of a slow movement, but it's clearly been the Wolfpack offensively starting to get the better hand over the Duke Blue Devils. Before we find out what Malik Murphy has in store, though, let's send it down to Coley on the field.
Well, Chris, just before the first half ended, I noticed that NC State cornerback Brandon Cisse went into the locker room early, and I've got some bad news for the Wolfpack. I've just been told that he is now out for the game. What I haven't been told is what exactly the injury is. I will say that when I saw Cisse go in, he was walking on his own power with athletic trainers around him.
I appreciate that, Coley. That is big news because Duke can't get anything going running the football. So they're going to have to do it through the air. And something earlier in the game with Cisse. That was on a big play on a tackle for loss.
Yeah, you see the cast on his left thumb. He has surgery on that thumb before the Cal game, and so he has that cast. It didn't look like too much on that play, but we'll definitely keep an eye out. Devin Marshall, the transfer from Villanova, will take his spot at corner.
Big hit in the secondary, flag down in the backfield. It's a nice catch by Jake Taylor, just his third catch of the year. Let's check the markers.
Defense number 44, 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Brandon Cleveland. Just got his hands up in the face of the offensive tackle. You see 44 looping around the left-hand side. Gets it up in the face mask of Brian Parker. Extra offensive lineman in for Duke.
Thomas trying to bounce it outside. Nothing doing. More flags on the play. Bishop Fitzgerald on the tackle for the loss. Now let's check this marker.
Holding, offense, number 53, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Brian Parker, the second, one of just two returning starters on this offensive line from last year. Both he and Pickett on the right side, and Parker the guilty party. So it's like one step forward, one step back.
Yeah, and he's working on Davin Van, and you guys see the extra offensive lineman in the game, and Davin Van tries to spin back around, catches Brian Parker off balance, and he pulls him down.
Murphy to throw, has time, off target, trying to get it to Jordan Moore, but he was covered well on the play. That's Devin Marshall, who's now taking the place from Brandon Cisse. Coley just told us he's not going to return today, so there's Marshall.
And this NC State defense is giving something different than they've shown. Tony Gibson has shown, tight press man coverage all year, dropping back in zone, and that's really affected Malik Murphy's accuracy.
Third and forever. Murphy. Now he's going to step up. Has a receiver more in midfield. Can he make enough men miss to get the first down? He does. Dragged out of bounds at about the 44. They'll mark him just inside. And Marshall missed a tackle on that play that may have prevented Jordan Moore from picking up the first down. That's a huge conversion.
Malik Murphy, great job of stepping up in the pocket. When you only rush three guys, there's going to be lanes for the quarterback to step up in the pocket. Great job of finding Jordan Moore for the first.
Thomas. Not a lot of room. Maybe picks up a yard.
And that's what you got to do as a quarterback. When you get the defense dropping back in the zone coverage, you take the time and allow your receivers to find the open windows.
Empty backfield now for Malik. Brown. He's got great speed. Inside the 20, finally driven out of bounds. They'll mark him right at the 21.
This is one of the answers, right? We didn't see this all first half. When you get in the locker room, you make an adjustment. You say, all right, they're playing zone. Let's see if we can overload them with receivers. Again, 4 receivers to the bottom of the screen.
22 yards. They want to go quickly. Again, to Brown on this side. He's got blockers in front of him. Down inside the 15.
Same play, other side of the field. Zone coverage makes sure that you have guys spread out on the field, so not a lot of man matchups. Good job finding that receiver, getting the ball out of Malik Murphy's hands quickly, and now Malik Murphy goes to the sideline as Grayson Loftus, number 12, checks in at quarterback.
Second down and 4 with Loftus now taking the snap. Quarterback draw. Down to the 10. Marshall on the stop. We mentioned that Malik Murphy, not much of a running quarterback, prefers to stay in the pocket or move the pocket, but Loftus started the final 5 games of last year much more comfortable running the football. Murphy back.
Again, another unbalanced formation, so this tight end is ineligible, so these linebackers and safeties have to unfold who is eligible on these plays.
Thomas, nice jump cut inside the 5, down to the 3. Lil's been tough sledding for 17 and White in the middle of that defensive front, Mark, but he did a nice job with that jump cut to initially break free. Duke wants to go quickly. Murphy tries to cut it back inside and does to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Duke.
Well, they're not going to run Malik Murphy very often, but even Tony Gibson, the D coordinator, said, look, Malik Murphy, he can pick up a few yards in the zone read. Good job of switching it up, right? You self-scout. You say, okay, Malik Murphy's not a runner. Let's bring Grayson Loftus in when we want to run the football. Then when it comes down to crunch time, down near the goal line, we'll put Malik Murphy back in, allow him to keep the football. And he takes it himself into the end zone. How about these 2 opening drives in the second half where offense was stagnant in the first half? Both these teams marched down the field and scored.
Polino's try is good. Malik Murphy used his arm and ultimately used his legs to get into the end zone, finishing off a 10-play, 75-yard drive. The Duke Blue Devils back on top.
The new 12-team college football playoff begins December 20th on ESPN.
That's how I get by.
That is a fluid situation, as today's games have already had an impact and will have an impact on next Tuesday's rankings when they come out. 19-12 our score here. The Blue Devils with an impressive drive. They had gone into a shell offensively. Hadn't been able to do much of anything at all until that drive. And now not just the lead, but a lot of momentum. Kaufman, he's dangerous. Spins away from one tackler and a good return to get it beyond the 30. We mentioned how Duke has really gone silent offensively, Mark. They had a safety to start the game, a field goal, and then a beautiful touchdown pass to go up 12-0 early.
Yeah, and then it was all first quarter, it was all Duke. In the second quarter, NC State comes back and scores 9 points, 3 field goals. And right at the end of that half was the huge play with the strip return that set up that last-second field goal. And Manny Diaz talked about this game. He said, look, there'll be times where NC State, as the home team, gets a surge. The question is, how do we respond to that surge by the home team? And with that surge at the beginning of the second half for NC State, driving all the way down the field, utilizing the penalties that Duke defense had, they scored those 3 points, but Duke had an answer, right? They have not had answers this season. They did not have an answer last week against Miami in the fourth quarter. This was an answer. Driving back down the field, scoring a touchdown of their own. And we'll see if this Duke defense settles down and plays sound football, or if NC State is able to drive down the field again.
Bailey with a little bit of heat on that initial passing attempt, trying to get it to Concepcion, but it was too much on it. Now downfield, just overshoots his intended receiver. That was Keenan Jackson, true freshman out of Waukesha, North Carolina.
It's so much, you know, all the stats, right? We always talk about third downs, right? How do you convert on third down? But we've seen this year in college football, really any year, right? First down success leads to second downs that you can get into third and manageable, third and shorts. This drive right here, first down incomplete, second down incomplete. Now it's third and long, and Duke brings out the rush package.
Bailey just won for his last 8, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the country coming in. Here comes the pressure right up the middle. Bailey sidesteps it, gets it to a receiver, to the 35. That's going to be a first down. And Noah Rogers runs out of bounds, but Bailey did a phenomenal job in just finding him and getting it into his hands to let him do what he does.
Well, Jalen Stinson again, he is just unblocked coming to the quarterback, and this is all on C.J. Bailey. Really good job of spinning out of it, finding his receiver downfield, almost hits the umpire.
I love that. Love the umpire.
Oh, I don't love the umpire being there at all. But Noah Rogers, great catch and run, picking up the first down.
Fake to Smothers. Bailey wants to throw. Has a receiver open. Inside the 40. That's Grimes. He's going to go out of bounds at the 35. Bailey is spreading it around to a lot of different receivers today. Another 20 yards to the Wake Forest transfer.
And you want to know why he's able to do that? Because the offensive line is protecting him. Where they did not protect him in the first half, NC State said, look, we're going to keep extra guys in. They kept a tight end and a running back in on that play to help with the pressure. Only a 3-man route, but Bailey had time to find his target downfield.
Trying the reverse. Now the flea flicker. Bailey's going to have to let it go, and he does. Caught at the 20. Jolie makes the catch with flags all over the place. But I don't think it'll matter because of an unbelievable individual effort by Justin Jolie.
Pass interference. Defense, number 4. After his decline, he's overplays the first down.
Well, Robert and I, the offensive coordinator for NC State, he loves trick plays. Every single time, every game is going to have a reverse or a reverse pass. This one, little pitch back to the quarterback. When that ball went in the air, I was thinking, oh boy. There are covered guys downfield, but Justin Jolie, the transfer from UConn, before the season, I thought that he would be the most impactful transfer for NC State. He has been that, and being the leading receiver on this team, you saw him use his big body to just bounce off the defender. Came up with a huge catch for his quarterback.
Now all of a sudden these offenses are marching up and down the field. Into the red zone for the Wolfpack. Waters. Brought down by Williams. Falls forward for 3.
And that 3-yard gain on first down, that was a negative 1-yard gain in the first half, right? That same play was a very different result. And even just the 3 yards, now you're in rhythm. Now you are keeping up with the sticks. And second down, you have a lot of options. You can run the ball. You can have a quick pass. Whole playbook's open.
Waters. Second, third effort. Williams that time wasn't going to be denied in terms of forcing Waters down at the line of scrimmage. Might have even lost a yard on that play, Mark. So now it's third down and 8.
Jordan Waters, 10 carries on the game, and it's got to be an important game for him, right? There's a lot of things, right? It's a rivalry. They're right down the street, but you played at Duke for 4 years, and you get an opportunity to play against them now in a different color uniform. He's been pretty bottled up most of the night.
Let's see what Duke decides to do from a pressure perspective here. They bring pressure right up the middle. Hits off a defender's helmet. That was Wesley Williams. The defensive end in coverage wasn't even turned around. And the pass behind his receiver, Mark, bounces off of 97's helmet.
Well, this is an unbelievable play by Wesley Williams, and this is a play call. You watch here, right? You're going to get Jolie on the right side jam. And then Wesley Williams, you have to cover Hollywood Smothers, the best receiving back out of the backfield for NC State. And it just was a great job by the defensive end doing something he's not used to doing very well.
Bailey took a shot at the end of that play, grabbed his rib. He's grabbed his rib, his wrist, his ankle. Just about everything today. Hanging in there. Vine set for another 3 points. Then he pulls it. Wide left. He was 4 for 4 before that attempt. So a good-looking drive by NC State, and the Wolfpack come up empty, though, with 1:05 left to go in this third quarter.
Yeah, and again, this Duke defense, yeah, they were stingy in the first half. Now in the second half, they've been bend but don't break. And you've seen NC State get down there in scoring position, in striking position, but no touchdowns. Right, no touchdowns on the board for NC State today. They've had to settle for 5 field goals, and that last one obviously was missed. But this Manny Diaz, Jonathan Packey defense, they have stepped up inside the red zone all night.
Now Malik Murphy will throw once again. Tries to go up top, overshoots his defender, incomplete. Trying to get it to Pancall, and Aiden White was in coverage, or Samir Higgins rather. Check that. Now they'll bring in Quayshawn Brown for Higgins.
They've liked throwing the quick screen out to Quayshawn Brown in this set.
That's exactly what they do here, but it's got a lot of heat on that pass, and it sails right through his hands.
Quayshawn Brown's over there like, hey, you know I'm 5'8", right? With 6'5" Malik Murphy put that out there on a rope just a little bit too high. And now on third down, we've seen NC State drop 8 in coverage. I would be interested to see if they bring pressure here. And they're showing pressure, and Malik Murphy looks to the sideline. And now NC State wants the chalk last, and they get out of it.
Thomas in all kinds of trouble. Malik Murphy tried to throw him a block, but Murphy wasn't going to block. 6 black shirts on that play.
No, and I love the chess match that these two coordinators are going back and forth. Jonathan Brewer says, okay, Tony Gibson's bringing pressure. Let me check out of this play. Let me check to a quick screen with my running back in the flat. Well, Tony Gibson says, okay, I see you checking. I'm going to check out of my pressure and get back in that zone coverage. Tony Gibson has the best of that one as NC State thwarts Duke in its tracks.
Yeah, big 3 and out for that NC State defense. Final seconds of this third quarter, they're going to get it back. Concepcion wants to get his players away from it, and it takes a Duke bounce. Inside the 30, that's where it'll be down as we've reached the end of the third quarter. Defense is still ruling the day, but things loosening up just a little bit. Offense is finding some room to work. Coach Dorn firing up the squad. They trail heading to the fourth. ACC Network football is presented by Dr. Pepper. And as Buford T. Justice once said, grab yourself a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper and sit back and enjoy the fourth quarter here in Raleigh, North Carolina, as we have had a defensive battle, but the offenses are starting to loosen things up a little bit. And NC State now trying to get back on track. Bailey, the true freshman quarterback, had his receiver, Concepcion, and he dropped it. They've been trying to get the ball into Ten's hands all day long on the offensive end, and they were finally able to get him free, Mark, and he dropped it.
Yeah, and they had Chandler Rivers. They want Chandler Rivers matched up on Casey Concepcion. Gave a little bit of cushion. You're just a really well-timed route by Concepcion, just unable to hang on to the football. Again, another first down miss.
Bailey to throw again. Has time. Again underneath to Concepcion. Ozzie Nicholas in coverage, but Concepcion had it right in his hands.
Such a good play by Ozzie Nicholas. It's a man coverage, the whole player on the inside, and Chandler Rivers does a great job of dropping his wide receiver, and he sees the linebacker in the middle, and on 3rd down and 10. This defensive front for Duke has been so good at getting in the backfield. Can this offensive line protect their quarterback?
Duke brings 4, so Bailey has time. It's intercepted. That's Terry Moore. Looking for a block down the left side. Finally brought down at the 20. Terry Moore with the big interception and the 23-yard return. The Blue Devils are back in business with the lead here in the 4th.
And C.J. Bailey, he just throws it a little bit behind Justin Jolie, and Jolie was open. You see in the middle of the field, watch Jolie coming from right to left. Just throws it a little bit behind him. That should be caught by their tight end. 3 drops on that drive. 3 drops in 3 downs by Casey Concepcion and Justin Jolie, their top pass catchers, and costly mistakes by this receiving group for NC State.
Wolfpack showing some pressure. Murphy. Nice catch by Moore. All kinds of Moore now with Duke. Terry with the pick. Jordan with the catch. Inside the 10.
You cannot cover Jordan Moore man-to-man. He's too good.
Murphy to the end zone. Too high for Pancall. Aiden White in coverage. 2nd down and goal.
It's been a red zone defense for NC State that has been good. 3rd in the conference in terms of red zone stops.
Duke really has no power running game, do they? We saw Malik Murphy keep it for a touchdown on their last score. Showing pressure again up the middle. Wolfpack, the pressure's picked up. Higgins is going to score.
And it's just a little snag route from Samir Higgins. He's right here. He runs inside, kind of comes out. And just a poor job passing off defensively. So many times they've run that quick pop pass out. They switch it up, run the snag route, and great play design and great execution by Duke.
Diaz pleased with his defense, creating the turnover. And then Murphy with another touchdown pass. This one to Samir Higgins. It's a 2-score lead for the Blue Devils. Servicemen and women from every branch of our armed services here today enjoying this game at Carter Finley Stadium. Look at the flag, the American flag, the stars and stripes unfurled at halftime with the NC State band playing. And it's been a great night for our servicemen and women. We want to thank them for their service. We're glad they're here appreciating this game. If they're NC State fans, though, it looks like those folks are. They need something big to happen in the 4th quarter. Another touchdown after the turnover. It's 10 points off 2 NC State turnovers today. That's really a big difference in this game.
Yeah, the other difference has been the 5 red zone trips that NC State has had, and they've come away with only 4 field goals, unable to get the ball across the end zone this entire game. And And we've seen productive drives. We've seen them move the ball down the field. It's just they have not been able to punch it across the line, and Duke has. And that's been really the biggest difference in this one so far.
Empty backfield for C.J. Bailey. Has time, has a receiver. That's Collins, stiff-arming a defender and getting out beyond the 40. They'll mark him at the 45. Coley, what's going on down in the field?
Well, Chris, while North Carolina State's offense was on the sideline, I noticed that pass catchers Casey Concepcion and Justin Jolie were sitting next to each other on the bench, of course, both having drops on the last drive. Both of them had their heads down, with Concepcion rubbing his hands together. At that moment, offensive linemen Zeke Correll and Patrick Matton walked over, and they both said, hey, we got a whole quarter left to play, no heads down. Either we're going to pout about it, or we're going to do something about it.
And they might get their running game, too, going as well. Smothers, shoestring tackle that time, prevented Smothers from maybe taking it to the house. 15 yards, and that's the first time we've seen 20 in Black kind of get loose a little bit.
Yeah, good job blocking up the middle by this offensive line, and just, I mean, a touchdown-saving tackle by Deshaun Stone. A good run by Hollywood Smothers, and we'll see if this O-line can continue to open up gaps like that on this drive.
NC State's back in Duke territory in a hurry. Bailey to throw. Now he's flushed out of the pocket. Just has to chuck this one into the stands. Ozzie Nicholas was bringing the pressure.
And when Duke defensively, you're right, they want to take away first looks. And one of the ways they do that is they just play man-to-man. Look at this. This is the only safety. The entire defense is along the line of scrimmage. They are not going to let the true freshman quarterback have easy reads in this game. And that's led to the fact that the defensive lineman being able to get pressure on the quarterback and get sacks with taking away that first look and that easy pass.
Bailey to throw. He's got Jordan Waters out here. He's got some room to run. Lowers his shoulder, plows into the defender, and picks up a first down. Joshua Pickett on the stop, but Waters was able to move the sticks out of the backfield.
Yeah, good answer. When the defense brings pressure, especially a linebacker pressure, if you can get that fifth receiver out, get that running back out on the flat, it's very difficult for that extra guy to move outside, especially with crossing routes inside. Simple mesh route, get the running back to the flat, good game.
Once again, out of the backfield with Waters. It's about 5.
And if it weren't for Chandler Rivers out there, that should have been a touchdown. Chandler Rivers made a phenomenal play, avoiding a block and getting a tackle. But again, you're seeing the running backs in the flat making a difference in the passing game. Another wrinkle in this offense that we did not see a lot in the first half. But these are the answers that Robert and I and Dave Doran came up with at halftime.
Bailey to throw. Waters stays in for protection. Now Bailey's got some room to run if he wants it. Stimson chases him out of bounds. But he's right at the first down marker. I think they're going to move it. Jalen Stinson showed his speed in closing up that ground, but still enough for a first down.
Yeah, give me more of that, C.J. Bailey. Right? If your reads are not there and you're holding the ball, take off and run. I mean, he has the athleticism. Pick up the yards. That time he got a first down, but even 5 or 6, those are good.
Concepcion in the backfield now with Bailey. And he'll get the carry, spins forward inside the 15. Alex Howard on the stop. We got a player down for NC State. He's not going to stay down for long. Gets back up onto his feet. That's Anthony Belton, the All-ACC left tackle.
Chris, if you were 6'6", 356 pounds too, it might take you a little bit.
And more than one person lending me a hand to get me back on my feet.
6'6", 356, and Again, inside the red zone, can NC State finally cross that threshold?
Bailey to throw. He's got pressure on the edge. Shoots it over to the end zone and overshoots his intended receiver. That was Keenan Jackson. Here's the third down they're going to have to pick up. With the clock ticking inside of 10 minutes left in this game. This has got to be 4-down territory, you thinking here, Mark, or too soon?
I think it's pretty close to 4-down territory. I mean, especially if you make it 4th down and 2 or less, I think you go for it.
Bailey to throw. No, he's going to run it. And he's going to run into his own man. He was going to be brought down anyways. But Kamari Robinson was able to bring him down for a loss.
Yeah, and you see Dave Doran say, stay out there. I mean, that was a design QB draw, and they wanted to pick up a few yards to make it 4th and manageable, but you see the indecisiveness by C.J. Bailey, and that indecisiveness was created by Duke, right? They brought linebackers up around the line of scrimmage. They dropped them off right over in a spy position. C.J. Bailey didn't know where to go with the football. This is a huge play on 4th down.
He's got some others in the backfield. Deep rings just 4, going to the end zone as a receiver wide open, and he made the catch. Yes! Wesley Grimes on his knees.
Let's make sure he comes down with it. You get that left knee in. There it is. That is very close. If any body part is, no, you see that left knee kind of being off the ground. I think that shin is inbounds when he comes down with the football. Wesley Grimes, no catches today.
A touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
And what a big one coming up for his team in the red zone. A guy who transferred in from Wake Forest this year, a Raleigh, North Carolina native. You see that left shin. This is obviously called a touchdown on the field. I do think that will stand. He secures the football.
Let's make sure the ball didn't hop here, right?
Yes.
So catches it, does the ball hop, and he regathers it. No, he kept it the whole time. So I don't think that's an issue. The question is, does that left knee, is it inbounds or on the chalk when he makes the catch? And I don't think, to your point, Mark, I don't think we see enough from these angles.
Watch right here. Watch the left knee. It's kind of elevated, right? You know, it's a little bit elevated, and I do think that...
Further review, the middle of the field stands. Touchdown.
I think that's the right call. And it was a really good route concept on the outside by NC State. A scissors route downfield where the inside receiver goes to the corner, the outside receiver goes to the post, and both defenders went with the post route. Wesley Grimes was wide open. You see here, you got one guy coming in, one guy going out. 2 defenders come in. C.J. Bailey goes out.
Vine said is true. Wesley Grimes gets the knee in, makes the catch right on the sideline. Manny Diaz unhappy with the decision by the officials, but it stands. Duke still leads.
ACC Network College Football is presented by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Mark Hertzlick, Coley Harvey, Chris Cotter with you here inside Carter Finley Stadium. This fan base is as lit as we have seen them since the beginning of this game, as the NC State Wolfpack have just taken The ball down the field on a 75-play or 75-yard, 10-play touchdown drive to close the gap now here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this defense for Duke, they have been sound the entire game. Few penalties on that first drive of the second half, and then that miscommunication by the defensive backs on the scissor route led to where we are now.
Well, you look at our two quarterbacks. C.J. Bailey, the true freshman, came in 10th in FBS in completion percentage after an 18 for 20 game last weekend. And you can see he's under 50% in this game, has the interception. Then you see what Malik Murphy has done on the left. Bailey's the one, no surprise, with a little bit more in terms of running the ball, but Malik Murphy does have a rushing touchdown in the second half of this game.
Yeah, Malik Murphy has been clean with the football too. No interceptions, has not put the ball in harm's way at all. And that's difficult to do against this defense that brings pressure from everywhere.
Can the Blue Devils answer? Thomas, nowhere to go. Can't get back to the line of scrimmage. That's Kamal Bonner. And this is looking a lot like the first quarter of this game, when Duke could get nothing going in the running game.
Yeah, that was a play, just the counter OY, and we talked about it a lot in this game. That really hurt Miami. I mean, Duke had a ton of success with that last week. NC State obviously saw it on film and has not let them gain an inch on it.
Second down and 11. Again, testing the ground game. That time Starr was able to pick up good yardage. It'll bring up third down and 3. A long 3.
Extra offensive lineman in the game for Duke. They bring in Vance Bolliard, the big tight end, the blocking tight end, to be in the game. They are in run personnel, but with man coverage across the board, they have one-on-ones on the outside. Wouldn't be surprised if they take a shot.
Thomas going to be dropped short. Travali Price brought him down. And it's going to be a good yard and a half shy. And they're going to have to punt this thing away.
Yeah, I don't know why they were even staying on the field. I mean, the offense should have been walking off immediately. I mean, this is not an option situation. You punt the ball away. You put your defense on the field. And I think for Duke, right, it feels all too familiar, unfortunately, right? They had leads at the end of the last 2 games versus SMU and versus Miami, and unable to close the door.
Can Concepcion make a play here? He cannot. 10 is still frustrated, but at least his offense has the ball back, trailing by 7. C.J. Bailey, the true freshman quarterback, making his, well, I guess it would be his 6th career start. 7th, yeah. Grayson McCall made 4 starts earlier in the year, and then he retired due to injury. So Bailey, I'm sure they would have loved to have had him sit and learn from McCall all year long. Pressed into duty, and he's trying to get his team bowl eligible. Back with the football from his own 26. You saw his numbers, has struggled at times. Now he'll put it up on first down. Has a receiver open, another drop. Another drop, this time it's Wesley Grimes who scored the touchdown on the last drive.
You can't drop. In this situation, you're in the 4th quarter. You need to march down the field and score a touchdown. It just, these drops hurt.
That's
momentum
the fourth one in the 4th quarter.
Exactly. And just, right, you look at the completion percentage, it's like at 45%. Well, you have 4 of those incompletions have not been C.J. Bailey's fault.
Duke gets pressure, bringing 4. Swings it out to his back, out of the backfield. Raphael. Nothing doing, though, as Duke, outstanding defense defense with Kamari Robinson making another big play, the backup cornerback.
Well, the way these corners attack the football when it declares is really impressive. And they just stick their foot in the ground and drive with leverage. You see if he misses it, Chandler Rivers is right there with him. Big third down.
3rd and 11 here.
Got their pass rush defense in. Number 12, Trey Freeman, down around the line of scrimmage.
Bailey to throw. Loses it. And is able to pick it back up. But deep. Now in his own territory and 4th and forever as Terry Moore makes another big play, forcing a fumble. He had the interception earlier in the second half. And here the forced fumble.
I mean, Jonathan Packey does not care. He said both of his safeties, right? You bring Jalen Stinson, we've seen him come a lot. Terry Moore was on that pressure as well, and he's just manned up.
The previous play is on the front of the reel.
Previous play is under review to see if this was a forward pass, Mark. I think that's clearly what Dave Doran wants to speak to the officials about. And it really is just a matter of whether they would take the minus. It's an 11-yard loss on the fumble recovery, which was recovered by NC State. It would be another 11 yards forward if it's an incomplete pass. Let's take a look to see if the arm was going forward or whether it was tucked.
Yeah, that's incomplete pass.
Yeah, that arm is moving forward, and the ball came out and went forward. That's a forward pass.
But either way, you look at, you see that number 12, Trey Freeman dropping back in the middle zone.
An incomplete pass. Ball we placed at the 25-yard line is 4th down.
And Marcus Woods on the call. Sorry, Mark.
No, it just shows the confidence that Jonathan Packey and Manny Diaz have in the cornerbacks. I mean, we've seen it all day. Joshua Pickett, Chandler Rivers, Kamari Robinson. These guys have played really well on the outside, and I think probably the unsung hero of this defense has been number 4, Cam Bergeron, and the way he has held Justin Jolie in check for the most part in this game. It has allowed them to bring pressure often.
Caden Nooncaster's had a good day. He needs a big one here to flip this field. And Hagan's just going to let it bounce. And it does take an NC State bounce. Down at about the 31. Let's get more football. Brought to you by Geico. And look at the biggest games of the weekend. Wow. First of all, Alabama LSU. That's ridiculous on ABC. BYU. Utah's not the same Utah, but BYU still has to keep it going in the Big 12. And that game will kick at 10:15. Isn't it glorious to have a 10:15 window on ESPN? So when the insomnia kicks in, and it surely will, we'll be watching some Big 12 action late night.
Usually that just means me waking up extremely early on Sunday mornings with my kids after a long night of football.
You need sleep. You'll sleep when you're dead, right? Stiff arms the defender. Good start for Duke on this drive out near midfield.
That's kind of what I thought they might do last drive, right? They were very conservative with their play call. 3 runs in the last drive. NC State, right, kind of has got out of their zone pressure, right? Their zone coverage, I mean, where now they're trying to force the hand of Malik Murphy. They're bringing pressure. They're lined up man-to-man on the outside. And for these wide receivers, that's when they're at their best. When they get clear man-to-man coverage, Malik Murphy can get them the football.
Quick throw to Panko. Makes the catch. Gets about 3. White all over him on that play.
See how fast Malik Murphy gets the ball out of the chest of his running back and out to his wide receiver. I think Cam Ward is probably the best I've seen at it, of just coming out of the RPO and slinging the ball out there. But Malik Murphy, he's very good at it as well. So Panko make a couple catches. He missed all of last year with injury. Another big weapon on the outside as Duke lines up with 6 offensive linemen on the field again.
And in no hurry here, play clock inside of 5. Starr picks up a couple. This is a big one right here. 3rd down and a long 3. Remember that NC State burned 2 timeouts on offense early in this half. They only have 1 left on the board.
And the difference in this second half has been Duke getting in 3rd and manageable. No longer are they in 3rd down and long where NC State can just drop back and let them complete passes in front of them.
Duke is 0 for 8 on 3rd down. Trying to hit Pancol. That one's deep, but the flag comes in. Aiden White in coverage. That flag was nowhere near where the ball came down, but it is in the secondary.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 3, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
1st down. Call goes against White.
It's down here. And just an inside release, and Aiden White just has his hands all over him. I mean, it's a big wide receiver. Eli Pancol is 6'3", 210 pounds, and Aiden White, he's got size himself, but a little bit banged up this year. Has played a lot of football and gets a little bit too grabby.
Just lowers his shoulder, gets it back to the line of scrimmage. As Bishop Fitzgerald makes the tackle, NC State's there's an air of desperation about them defensively here. Not only do they got to get the ball back, but they got to prevent Duke from running more clock and kicking a field goal as well to make it a 2-score game.
Yeah, and NC State only has 1 timeout left. At the beginning of the second half, on offense, they had to call a timeout to get their personnel right, and then down when they were deciding whether to go for it on 4th down or kick a field goal, they called another one. So they are left with only 1 timeout as the clock is getting down under 4 minutes.
Thomas cuts it back. Falls forward and picks up another couple of yards. Kaufman and Cleveland combining on the stop. Thomas has been the workhorse on this drive. This is it right here. 3rd down and 7. Wolfpack defense has got to get off the field here. Murph to throw. Going to go to the end zone. He just overthrows Moore. Marshall in coverage, and it was good coverage.
Brandon Cisse is out of this game, as we talked about earlier. Devin Marshall, the transfer from Villanova. But the game's on the line in the biggest play. You're covering the best wide receiver. One-on-one, you need to make a play. Great coverage by Marshall.
This is going to be a 49-yard attempt. Polino hit from 50 in the first half. Snap, hold, kick is on its way, and it's good.
It's massive. Massive kick by Polino.
I mean, that's a 49-yarder and a 50-yarder from the junior from Cornelius, North Carolina. You saw the elation from Manny Diaz.
Only attempted 1 kick, over 50 coming into today, and Manny Diaz his defense. I mean, they have played one heck of a game. And with 2 minutes and 6 seconds, NC State down 10 points. True freshman quarterback. One timeout left. That kick might have just done it.
They'll have the 2-minute timeout as well, so they'll have those 2 stoppages. NC State will now down 10. This is the time maybe TK Kaufman, that man right there, decides to take a chance and catch this ball in the end zone and see if he can make something happen.
Yeah, he runs, kicks back like a safety would. They're going to squib it to him.
Yeah, they want to burn the remaining 6 seconds before the 2-minute timeout. Here comes Kaufman, though, has a block. Good return, lowers his shoulder as well and delivers a hit on Salas. Check the marker right where he went out of bounds. Kaufman had 164 return yards last week. Got 43 on that kick return.
Holding, receiving team number 30. Team penalty, first down.
That's a killer.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
Isaiah Crowell. There he is right there. You see him holding 40. Right at the end of the run, too. Right there at the 40-yard line. 2-minute timeout on the field. NC State with the ball, but down 10. Coming out of the 2-minute timeout, Coach Doran has 1 timeout on the board. And his team trails by 10 with his true freshman quarterback, C.J. Bailey. 16 of 36 on the day, 184 yards and a touchdown. He's hit 9 different receivers. He may have to hit 9 different receivers in the next 2 minutes of this game if they want to pull this out. Bailey, he'll do it with his legs on first down. He landed awkwardly after being tackled by Cam Bergeron. You can see he's limping a little bit coming up. No time to think about it. Bailey, good catch by Noel Rogers. Now they're going to call it incomplete. Couldn't hang on to it. That's another one.
Another drop.
Rogers should have had that one. See his frustration. Former #1 high school player in the state of North Carolina. And off to Ohio State, came back. Now it's 3rd down. That play was a disaster before it even started. We saw the center, Zeke Correll, there. And the team captains transfer from Notre Dame. There's Correll.
False start. Offense. Everyone but the center. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
I appreciate that description more than when the center holds it and they say a snap violation on the center.
Yeah.
Until the center snaps it, he's not in violation of anything. He could sit there for 2 minutes with the ball.
That's correct.
Technicalities aside, it's a 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down and 8. Bailey. He's going to have to step up. Flags in the backfield. Knocked down. Kamari Robinson with the PBR intended for Collins. Let's check the marker.
Holding, offense, number 65. That penalty decline. 4th down.
Manny Diaz and Duke opting to decline it, bringing up 4th down and 8.
Manny Diaz, when he talked to us, he talked about finishing in the 4th quarter, something they have not done well the last 2 weeks. They've been good in the 4th quarter here. Can they finish on this play?
NC State's converted on both their 4th down opportunities today. Can they make it 3 for 3? They're going to have to here. Bailey trying to get it to Rogers. Looking for a flag. Won't get it. Stinson in coverage. And that's going to do it. Check that. That was Jolie on the near sideline.
Jalen Stinson has just had a phenomenal day for Duke. They brought him a lot on pressures. He's got a sack, 2 TFLs. He got a PBU. You know, he has been all over the field today, and you see him covering the much bigger tight end, and just great footwork. Good job of not grabbing at the top of the route. That is a 5'8", 175-pound defensive safety, 5th-year senior who has worked ever since he got here at Duke, and just he has been good, and today he has been phenomenal.
Malik Murphy will take a couple of knees, and Duke will end that modest 2-game losing streak. You see what NC State has remaining. They got to go on the road now. Last 2 games of the year. Got to win one of those 2 to become bowl eligible.
Yeah, Georgia Tech obviously coming off of a massive win over Miami. North Carolina is starting to play really good football as well. So these are going to be some tough tests.
And that Georgia Tech game, rather, that's Thursday night game. A week from Thursday in Atlanta. And then, to your point, rivalry game against Mac Brown's club, who's playing better football second half of the year. That one Thanksgiving weekend. And NC State's gone bowling in 9 of the last 10 years. Manny Diaz wants to make sure everybody keeps their composure here at the end as we see Duke's remaining schedule. Got Virginia Tech coming up at home on the 23rd, and then they finish up at Wake. This will be win number 7 on the year for Manny Diaz in his first year. Outstanding first year. Taking over for Mike Elko up in Durham, about 22 miles away from where we stand right now. Marcus Woods, our referee, sorting things out.
Play, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 1, his first of the game. 15-yard penalty, first down. This results in a 10-second subtraction. Please set the game clock to 21 seconds and start it on my signal.
And that's some frustration from Davin Vann. Mentioned at the very top of this broadcast, Mark. 85th meeting between these 2 schools. Charter members of the ACC. They first started playing football against each other in the 1920s.
Yeah, and the cool thing is now they're going to play each other every year, right? With the way that the ACC was laid out before with the 2 different divisions, they rarely played each other. And now they're going to play each other every year. And as this clock winds after the penalty, that'll do it. And Duke will come out on top. And you mentioned Manny Diaz in his first year and taking over from Mike Elko. Mike Elko built this program up, and Manny Diaz has taken the reins, and 7 wins already this year. Great start for Manny Diaz.
Saw the 2 coaches embracing at midfield. Mutual respect. And Duke back on the winning track. You see Jordan Waters dabbing up his former teammates at Duke. Jordan Moore and company. Outstanding performance today on the road and picking up yet another league win. Big game in Pittsburgh coming up at 8 o'clock here on the ACC Network. Don't want to miss that. Panthers with new life after Miami fell earlier today in Atlanta. So an additional vim and vigor from Coach Narduzzi and his club later on tonight. There's Bailey and Diaz embrace. Coley Harvey somewhere down there on the field. Can't miss him. He's dressed like $1 million. There he is, standing by with the winning quarterback, Coley.
Yeah, Malik, first of all, you guys have talked about this rivalry, a lot of intensity. How's everything sorted out right now after that?
Man, it's been a great game. You know, it's real competitive, as you can see. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of emotion built up throughout the game, throughout the week. I'm just glad we was able to come out here and get a victory. So
Yeah, speaking of getting a victory, your coach, Manny Diaz, telling us earlier this week that he wants to see you guys finish in the fourth quarter after not really doing that the last couple of weeks. What did you see in terms of the finish today?
Oh, man, we stayed on the neck, honestly. We didn't let up. We didn't let them going down there and scoring get in the way of what we were doing. We just stayed consistent, and we were able to, come out with the win. So it's kind of all that matters. You got to win the fourth quarter and able to win games. So I'm proud we did that.
Speaking of staying consistent, your defense was consistently in the opposing backfield. How much did that give a lift to the rest of you guys on this team?
Man, I mean, the defense has been the strength so far this year. So I'm glad they're able to just keep going out there every single week doing what they do best, and that's pressure the quarterback, force turnovers, and get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's all you ask for a quarterback. It make my job easy.
Yeah, speaking of making your job easy, you and I talked earlier this week about your arm strength, that deep ball. Several of those early in this game. What is it about the connection with you and your receivers that's allowing that?
I mean, we go at it every single day, and that's what we work on. That's what we do best. It's all about hitting it in the game and hitting it when it matters, and we did that. We was able to get a couple explosive plays and a touchdown off it, so we just got to keep building on that.
Speaking of a touchdown, you had your first career rushing touchdown. What did you think about that?
Yeah, y'all see I don't do that too much, but I mean, if the opportunity presents itself like that, I'm doing anything to get points on the board, so that's all it is.
All right, thanks very much, Malik. Congratulations.
Appreciate the time, Malik. Coley, great job as always. That's going to wrap it up for us here in Raleigh. 29-19, our final score. Duke with the dub. From Mark Kirchlick and Coley Harvey, I'm Chris Cotter saying so long from Carter Finley Stadium. Let's send you to Taylor Tannenbaum and the ACC Huddle crew inside Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Appreciate Chris Cotter and co. As always, the Steel City under the moon and stars, perfect November night. First, though, I do want to put a bow on Duke winning that game over NC State. They beat North Carolina and NC State for the first time in a single season since 2013. Both of them. Manny Diaz continues to do his thing, Coach.
Well, that's one thing about Coach Diaz. He understands the rivalry games.
Right.
Even when I hired him as the defensive coordinator in Miami, he said, we're going to be measured by whether or not we beat Florida State or not. That's number one priority. And he's 100% right. And the same thing is true when it comes to Duke and North Carolina and NC State and Wake. Got to win those games.
Yeah. Good win for Duke today. NC State still looking for bowl eligibility, but they do have a couple of chances here left down the stretch.
Quarterback in the portal.
Falls 52-3. Still only one win on the season. All right, Duke, NC State.
You're not going to get one like that, though.
Senior day for the Wolfpack. Duke in the house, leading 5-0. Malik Murphy connects with Jordan Moore.
Throw it up.
Wow. Yeah, baby.
What a catch. He's making a lot of money.
Yeah, he is, man. Excellent catch.
45-yard touchdown, 12-0 Duke lead. In the third, now tied at 12, Murphy calls his own number.
Oh, yeah. First time ever.
Oh, dead leg.
How many quarterbacks have we seen try to beat guys to the sideline? Put your foot in the ground, go get positive yards.
And that's a big guy.
He knows who he is.
He's a big dude. Duke extends its lead 19-12. Start of the fourth, same score. C.J. Bailey's picked off here by Terry Moore, and he'll return it to the Wolfpack 20-yard line. We know how good this Duke defense is, and they were tough on the freshman quarterback in C.J. Bailey today. A few moments later, Murphy with time to Samir Hagan. He does the rest of the work. Wins the foot race to the pylon. Duke up 26-12. 9 minutes left. 4th and 8 here. C.J. Bailey does find Wesley Grimes. Great catch there for a 16-yard touchdown. NC State down 26-19. 2 minutes left in the game. Todd Polino kicks 49-yard field goal, and it's good. Duke goes on to win 29-19, putting that one out of reach. So Duke beats Carolina and State in the same season for the first time since 2013
wow.
under first-year head coach Manny Diaz.
Did they beat Wake Forest, though? They didn't play Wake Forest.
I don't think they play.
No. Though Malik Murphy, though, had a great game.
Feels like they did.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was his best game of the season, and it probably was. He threw the ball well, ran the ball well. He just played tremendous today, and there was times I was doubting whether he was the guy for Duke, but he really is.
Yeah, and shout out to Manny Diaz, too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All he does is win, and not trying to quote DJ Khaled, but in all seriousness, it was a great game by Malik Murphy, and he's getting better, really. Every single week he seems to be improving his accuracy, giving guys catchable passes. Good job by him.
Did a good job finding them one-on-ones and taking advantage of it. Those receivers are really making plays from Payne, Cole, Jordan Moore, Samir Hagans. They're all playing well.
Yeah, you did a tape on him asking for More execution? You got that
Got
out
it.
of Malik Murphy
I just
today.
knew.